Hammond City Council Public Hearing Agenda, excuse me, September 24th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilman Divatario, Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilman Leon,
Present.
Councilman Wells.
Old business, number 1.
An ordinance to rezone all of the property in the city limits within the following boundaries, which is currently zoned RS 11-A to RS 11, Crapanzin Rapazano Road on the west side, U.S. Highway 190 West on the north side, Interstate 55 on the east side, and Stein Road south side. Mayor?
As Lisa said, this is RS 11A, which is basically agricultural and/or mobile homes, changing it to no mobile homes and no ag.
Anyone from the public on this particular line item? Any question from anyone on the council?
Just to be clear, because I was confused, this was one that we had introduced, or we had referred to planning and zoning, and so now it's coming back to us for final vote. We don't need to be introducing it again. Okay, okay.
New business, number 1.
An ordinance to increase fees for leases and services at Hammond North Shore Regional Airport. Mayor?
As per FAA and Louisiana DOTD guidance, in March we were audited, and I'll let Charles go ahead and take this one.
Right. In March, we were audited. The FAA conducts routine compliance inspections of land use at airports that have been federal surplus property given to municipalities or that receive federal funding. Our airport receives a good amount of federal funding. One of their concerns was inconsistencies in our leases. I want to clarify something that received a lot of discussion at the last meeting, which is that, which was the lease rate. The lease rate is not actually changing. The lease rate that's in this amended ordinance is consistent with the lease rate that was adopted by the Hammond City Council in 2001. In 2001, that lease rate was 12 cents per square foot with an annual CPI adjustment. CPI is the Consumer Price Index. We can think of that as a measurement of inflation, of how prices change. They usually increase over time. And so what we calculate is what would that rate be 23 years later if we applied that annual CPI adjustment. And we find that in 2024, it would be 21 cents per square foot. So that's actually not changing. That is consistent with the 2001 ordinance. What we've done here is simply clarify that in 2024, that 12 cents is 21 cents, so that no one has to go back like we did and research prior ordinances to determine what that rate is. Some of the other things that are changing here, the fuel flowage fee is increasing to 25 cents per gallon. That fee was set at 15 cents back in 2015, so almost 10 years ago. So we're adjusting that up to what is a more average amount. We're also simplifying some of the fees for tie downs, for example. We had 4 categories before. We now have just 2. We've eliminated a fee. There was a fee for reserving the conference room at our terminal building. No one really does that. It was $10 for the reservation fee. We've eliminated that. We've also differentiated between leases, which is what I was discussing before. This is for land that we lease to a developer to build a hangar or some type of aviation operation at the airport, which helps us economically grow the airport. We've differentiated leases from rent. Rent refers to facilities that the airport owns, such as hangars. So we've added a separate fee for rent at 31 cents a square foot per month. I think that well summarizes it.
Let me just make also a comment here also. The effective date of this fee increase is proposed to be July 1st, 2024. And that matches what the Airport Advisory Board has recommended as of July 1st, 2024.
And also that follows up under the line of the Federal Aviation.
Yes.
Correct. All right. Anyone from the public on this particular item? Step to the mic. Please give your name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Sure. My name is Christopher Goodman, 861 Industrial. I spoke last at this meeting. I have a few questions about this ordinance. One that Andre just clarified. The I'm curious as to where the city came up with the 21 and the 31 cents from. I know you said that the 21 was a CPI adjustment. However, according to 5190.6, which is an FA order, there is other things in there about fair market rate and stuff like that. Has the city done an appraisal or done any type of market study to find out if that 21 cents is still accurate?
So the city has reached out to other airports of our size in our region, and what we're finding is that our rates are still lower than most of those other airports.
And in this region, what area was that?
These are local airports. That's a question for the airport director. I can get you that list.
Okay. Well, I went ahead and did my own research on that, and I called these other airports to include everything from Slidell to Foss River, and I found out that if we use a single aircraft hangar as a benchmark, a T hangar, box hangar type, that the average in the area is $375 to $450. This includes Slidell, which is one of the highest ones, Foss River, which is one of the, Foss River didn't respond to me, which includes Gonzales and Caps as some of the lower ones. Currently, we're charging $375, which is a little bit lower than the median, but it's still within the window. If we institute this 31 cents, then that's going to take those T hangars to $525, which is now 25% over the highest one in the area. So that is one concern that I have there, that this 31 cents. Do we know where the 31 cents came from?
Again, my understanding from speaking with the airport director, the board looked at rates at nearby airports and established a rate of 31 cents per square foot per month for the rentals, for the hangar
I
rentals.
can actually answer that question because I was in the office when he did that. It came from this study right here from KSA in 2001. And if we look, we find that the 31 cents for T hangars is a national average, which includes larger airports like Atlanta, Dallas, New York. But the regional average, which is what we are, is actually 26 cents a square foot. And that was based in 2001, only 3 years ago. So finding that 31 cents may actually be above what is going rate for the area. And we don't know that because we haven't done an appraisal. We haven't done an actual true market study to find out exactly where that number is. Now, on the 21 cents per square foot, I agree with you. The CPI does bring it to 21 cents if you adjust it from 2001. However, the ordinance was revised in 2015, and if you adjust it from there, it should actually be about 16 cents.
So to clarify, what was adjusted in 2015, the only fee that was adjusted in 2015 was the fuel flow charge. That was increased by, I believe, 10 cents. All of the other fees remained intact. There was no change to those. So the appropriate way to calculate the CPI increase is off of the 2001 ordinance. And I think this was brought up earlier. We've vetted this through FAA and DOTD Aviation. So both entities are on board with how we arrived at these rates.
Well, I understand that, but again, like the point I'm trying to make is, although they may have looked at the rates and they may have looked at your data as you presented it, it may not be complete data. By instituting a rate that's higher than everyone in the area, you're actually going to end up pushing business away from the airport. Let's look at the flowage fee. You said that the flowage fee was 15 cents and gone to 25 cents.
Correct.
How did we determine 25 cents?
Again, my understanding is the airport director or the airport board looked at surrounding airports and established what they felt was a competitive rate.
The 25 cents also came from our finance director, who was trying to make sure that we're operating in the black and not the red.
And I agree with you on that, Mr. Mayor, because I did my own research and I called all those same airports in. 25 to 30 cents seems to be average, with a few airports having separate flowage fees for avgas versus jet, and those are the ones down like Lakefront, where the jets actually use more fuel, so they have an extra nickel tacked into it. I would actually recommend that the airport look at something like that, that maybe we shouldn't just blindly do a 25 cents. If the larger user of the airfield is jets, maybe they should be a nickel higher. I'm not disagreeing with that. However, what I do disagree with is the fact that here's a receipt where fuel was already purchased and it's already being charged based on a memo that came out 2 months ago before the council ever approved it. Now, I understand, let's go ahead and cover our butt and let's go ahead and backdate this and say it's effective July, but the actual answer is the airport instituted this before it ever even got presented to the board on August 27th. But that's not the only thing. The airport has a habit of instituting fees before they're approved. Let's take the tie-down fee, for instance. We're wanting to go from $5 to $30. I personally had my aircraft on the ramp in 2015. I was charged $30. I have other people here with me tonight who are currently being charged $30. Again, this was only instituted August 27th. So we're talking that for the last 10 years, these people have been charged 600% of what this council approved. That's a problem, okay? It's a problem that the flowage fee was instituted 2 months in advance, and by your own testimony last time, you're talking $120,000 over a year's time. That means the city has collected $30,000 before this council even saw this ordinance.
Instituted and approved by the board, and also as of the audit in March, directed and guided by the FAA and Louisiana DOTD. This is the path we're taking, and they seem to be very happy with the fact that we're following their guidelines and doing the things that they ask us to do to get us in the position that we're in now.
I understand you said approved by the board, but let me remind you, Mr. Mayor, that the board is advisory. It's in the city ordinance advisory. They can only recommend changes. It is this elected council that actually makes those changes. Okay, having a board that is appointed, that our people don't, they're not elected, make these changes before you guys see it is also a problem. Another problem we have is, I have right here the emails that went out announcing the minutes, okay, announcing the meetings. When Mr. LeBou was in charge, every time he would send out an email, and attached is the agenda. When it gets down to the meeting in hand that approved these, there was no agenda attached. I was sitting at my desk, I saw the email come across, I picked up the phone, I called Tony directly, and I said, Mr. Tony, I just saw you send out an email, don't have an agenda. I was told, if you want to know that, you need to show up. That's a problem. Then I asked him a second question. Is there anything on the agenda that could possibly affect me? I was told, no, you're not being discussed at all. So, also, in that email that was sent out, bear in mind that this is not public, this is only going out to the persons the airport has email addresses for. So all these good people here never even saw it. Many of the tenants that could be affected were left off that email. Because I talked to my friends who over there and I said, hey, did you hear the airport approve these fees? We didn't know the meeting was happening. So how can you have something that's approved when your own public don't even have the opportunity to comment on it? That's also a problem. So, although I don't disagree that you probably ran this by the FAA and DOT and everybody else you should, I do think that there is problems when it comes down to ensuring that these follow the grant assurances. Okay? There are grant assurances that were signed by the airport when they received FAA money and took grants. Some of those deal with non-discriminatory practices. Some of those deal with fair competition and not blocking other people out. These fees could potentially do that. Like, for instance, the one operation permit. I personally called FAA Airports Division, regional office, and I said, have you ever heard of an operational permit that would charge to somebody coming on the field that's not there? They said, never heard of it. Never heard of that. Now, I'm not denying that the city has an operational permit for people on the field, but the grant assurances, number 22 Foxtrot, clearly says that the city cannot prevent any aircraft owner, whether he's a transit, based or not, to prevent any employee from working on his own aircraft. I have those grant assurances right here if you'd like a copy of them. So having an operational permit that somebody who from, say, Gonzales comes up here to work on someone's aircraft and have to pay you $250 to show up on the field is in violation of that 22 Foxtrot ordinance, or grant assurance.
Sir, I want me to ask you a question. Look,
Sure.
did anybody talk to Andre about this? Because he's the city attorney.
After our last meeting, when we were talking about my lease, and I didn't really want to talk about my lease right now, I was talking about this ordinance, my lawyer, who happens to be a city councilman from Baton Rouge for 12 years, who happens to be a airport board member for 12 years, chairman of the board for 6 years, has been in close contact with Andre about the grant assurances and about how certain things do conflict those. And what I came here tonight was not to come up here and try to bash the city as trying to prove this, or trying to come up here and say, oh, we're raising fees and let's, it's hurting the little guy. What I'm coming over to say is this ordinance as written, and as it applies to grant assurances, and as it applies to common practice, might be discriminatory, and to try to get this council to table it while it does further research. Because this right here, there are a lot of problems sitting here that need to be addressed before we just blanket approve raising some fees because it quote unquote makes us in the black. Which brings up another problem. If you follow FAA Order 5960, or 5190.6, It clearly says that the airport, having accepted funds, cannot operate in a surplus. It cannot institute fees that would create a surplus. So if you look at the city budget that was posted last year, the airport operates a $562,000 budget, and they only bring in $427,000. Now, if we look at this analytically, the mayor said that the flowage fee would bring $120,000. That's going to bring us up to $547 income. We're still a little bit there. But I also know there's 3 hangars that's proposed on the airfield, and those 3 hangars will generate approximately $30,000 revenue. And bam, we got a surplus. And at that point in time, any further development actually puts you in a surplus, and you would actually have to lower fees, which is contradictory to this ordinance, because the ordinance says that the fees go up every year and can't go down.
Well, actually, another question. Is anybody on that board? Are they in here? From the board? Anybody from the airport?
Wainwright over there.
Mr. Wainwright, could you please come up here and explain some of these things, please?
Is the airport director here too?
No, he's not.
He's not.
Yeah, because we really need the airport director also.
That would help a lot.
Yeah, because, and you know what? And I appreciate you coming up here, Mr. Wainwright, and I appreciate you being here. And see, these some of the things that we facing, you know, being a city councilman. We don't be aware of what's going on or what's taking place. And I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come up here and talk about it. And I say it all the time, we shouldn't just vote so fast on things without knowing what the consequence, because from what I'm hearing, this could really truly affect the grants and everything else that we've been receiving for the airport. And I don't know if Mr. Charles been aware of what's been going on.
Yes, I'd like to speak to that. So again, this ordinance as drafted, these fee increases have been vetted by FAA, which is where the grant assurances come from. The directive that we received from FAA when they visited us in March was that there were inconsistencies in the land leases. Now, the airport's been around for a really long time, you know, since 1932 officially, but it existed before that. That's a lot of time for a lot of different leases, a lot of different structures. There's a lot of different people involved. We are actively going through those leases and trying to update them to make sure that we have the most current, up-to-date leases, and this is per FAA. In terms of any type of surplus revenue, understand that currently the lion's share of the maintenance that's performed at the airport, just recently we've rehabbed the south end of 1836. We've upgraded taxiway lighting. We're about to, hopefully, if the council approves it, upgrade taxiway Alpha and Echo, as well as the terminal apron. All of these projects are being funded by FAA and DOTD. The amount of funding coming from the city or the airport is virtually none, and that's because we're operating in the red. The airport is operating in the red. The directive we received from FAA is that we need to operate in the black. The airport needs to be self-sufficient. That lessens the burden, eliminates the burden, hopefully, on the city taxpayer, and gets the airport in a position where it can maintain itself and be economically self-sufficient and drive the economy of the city, help drive the economy of the city.
Well, I don't think, excuse me, sir, Charles, I think you're wrong on that, and I'm gonna have to do some research. The city, and since I've been a councilman, we have approved of some money going to the airport, you know, versus getting the grants too. So we had to do some matches, or the city had to come up with some money. So don't sit there and say like, you ain't never used the city money, because we done voted on some things, and one of the issues we had with the property. I mean, we paid over $1 million some dollars for the property out there, and the mayor had to sit there and say he gonna get with some friends of his from the airport and come up with, I think what you said, 120,000?
Like
130.
250 or something.
Yeah, okay, to do that. So, Charles, the city have, and we, up here, the council, we haven't sat there and voted on sending money out to the airport. So, don't sit there and say that. I mean, I don't know was you in the meeting, but I remember we did do some voting.
Yes, to clarify, what I said was the majority, the lion's share of the funding has come from DOTD and FAA.
Okay.
The $1 million that purchased that property, that $1 million, that upfronted money, that was DOTD funding.
Okay.
You know,
Councilman Wells, if I might, I would like to quote something here directly from the 5190.6 order, because Mr. Charles here has misquoted something. The FAA does not get in the habit of telling you fees, okay? It's in the order. I personally called airports. They will not go in there and tell you, you need to charge 21, you need to charge 31. They don't do that. But I'm going to quote you something directly from the order here. It says, consistent with Grant Insurance 22 economic non-discrimination, charges to aeronautical use of the airport must be reasonable. This reasonableness requirement takes precedence over the requirement of self-sustaining rate structure and to respect aeronautical users. Accordingly, the FAA does not consider the self-sustaining requirement to require a sponsor to charge fair market rates to aeronautical users. For aeronautical users, the FAA considers the charge to reflect the actual cost of services required to justify the self-sustaining requirement. So what that means is, although you need to be in the black, and although it might be fair market rate, the actual FAA requirement is what does it cost to provide that service to the person, okay? If that doesn't require you to be in the black, so be it. The FAA is clearly right here in their order. And this isn't advisory, this is an order. Clearly says that as long as you're charging the cost of the services, that's what's required. I actually made a copy for each one of you in case you want to do some research. But the requirement of FAA Order 59.60 does not require you to be in the red. In fact, it specifically forbids it. It clearly says that any surplus cannot be generated, and that surplus must be spent on aeronautical stuff inside the fence.
Correct. So if we have grant dollars that are coming in and there is a match, as we've done in the past with grant matches, this would allow us, instead of using city dollars, to use these dollars as grant match funds.
See, what I wanted to backtrack. A couple problems I just heard was, I just want to clarify about with the values and appraisals. So if we're messing with rates, why wouldn't we have gotten, if we're trying to fix things, just like an official updated appraisal value that's from a professional to make sure that everything is accurate with the rate, instead of just picking up the phone and calling here or there people? Like, why wouldn't we just get an actual up-to-date appraisal on all, rates for leasing for those airports, so we have record of that and we know what we're looking at, and for the public would know and everything else?
Generally, when we hire people to do appraisals and updates for us, we're the ones that provide them with the majority of the information.
I mean, if you hire,
I'm just
I mean,
saying,
I don't know.
with the payroll.
I can tell you what
pass and
Baton Rouge
have it.
does.
What?
As an example, although Baton Rouge is not a regional airport, I can tell you what their policy is. They do an appraisal every 5 years, and in their leases, it says that your rent will go up by the amount of the appraisal, not to exceed 10%. So that keeps a cap on it, so if you get some weird year like 2020 where inflation goes through the roof, you're not going through the roof. But it also requires the airport to then go by and reappraise their land on a routine basis so that your rates are set properly. The problem with the CPI is you're going off something you did 23 years ago, okay? And when I told you had problems with non-discrimination, you had problems here, Mr. Charles is 100% right. I haven't read the FAA report. I asked for it, I didn't get it. That's beside the point. I know for a fact that there are leases on the airport that are as low as 4 cents a square foot. I know there's leases on the airport as high as 21 cents a square foot. Those occurred over time. Where you have a discrimination problem is the CPI. Because if I ask Andre, how much were those leases increased over the last 23 years, I'll go and tell you the answer. Until recently, it was nothing. So they're trying to take this 21 cents, and we apply 23 years of CPI all of a sudden, that none of these leases have ever been had. You got some leases all the way back to 1984 that have never been accelerated. That's a problem. I don't disagree with that. And unfortunately, that's a poo-poo sandwich that Andre's got to eat, because how do you take a lease that says you can only accelerate by so much and take it up to 21 cents? Well, now you're violating the lease. But if we don't do it, now not everybody's on the same sheet of music, and now we're violating Grant Insurance 22 for Charlie. So it's a very sticky situation. It's a very sticky situation that requires some research. And like you said, the appraisal is only part of the mix, okay? You get the appraisal and it tells you what it is. You still got to do market study and find out what the other airports in the area is doing. And if the other airports are in line here, that's great. You go by the appraisal. If they're not, you got to also stay in line, because that's now what is reasonable, and that's what the FAA says it has to be. It has to be reasonable. So you can't have an airport from Slidell to the other side of the river, and there's one airport in the middle that's charging 25% more than everybody else. That's no longer unreasonable. Because having taken FAA money, having accepted those grants, the city has agreed to operate the airport at cost, available to all users. So yes, you are allowed to keep a reserve for contingencies. Yes, I'm not saying that you hit 500,000 and 501 is now a boo-boo. That can go to self-sustainability. But when you start setting rates that creates a large surplus, you are now starting to violate those two grant assurances.
So there,
And we're not necessarily doing that, okay? You
Not
don't
yet.
know that for sure,
Not yet.
and you don't know that what those tax dollars could be used for.
That's correct.
If it's self-sufficient and we need another employee out there to keep the grounds up, which has been asked for, that
Perfect.
dollars go there.
That's
If we
great.
need grant match
What I
money,
would
dollars go
love-
there. So what you're saying,
What I would love
You're not
is
gonna
to fix the hangers that you're wanting to charge a premium for that has insulation hanging down like this.
perfect example.
Perfect example. Or concrete that's so spalling. Do you know what the number one maintenance thing on Hammond is? Filing down props that's been hit by rocks. That's the number one maintenance activity done on all airplanes at Hammond. Okay? You're 100% right. You start getting extra funds, you can actually start doing something. But you also can't set rates arbitrarily by pulling a number out of thin air off of a report that was done 3 years ago on national average without doing the appraisal, without doing the market study. I'm not saying that the rates are, on the surface, they look great. What I am saying is the city hasn't done their research to know that that's an accurate number.
so where are you saying they should be at?
If it was me, having done a little bit of research, I don't disagree with the $30 for the single aircraft. Because when I went across the board, 25 to 35 is average.
So where is your problem at?
My problem lies in the 31 cents, which should be probably closer to 26. And my problem lies in that 21 cents for land leases because you haven't done an appraisal to know what your land's actually
Okay,
worth.
but let me ask you to follow up, because I'm with Sam on this. Previously, they were saying with inflation or what, CPI, the old leases are at 21. That is where it should be. You said something.
That's potentially where it should be.
Okay.
But that's not where
But
they
that,
are at.
okay, but then the 31, that is rent, that's an actual building, right? So the
That-
lease is just
that-
land, and then 31 is the building.
31, from the way this is written, is for buildings that the city of Hammond actually own. For instance, like the hangar-on building, when that lease is up, it becomes property of the city of Hammond, and then the city of Hammond can then rent it out.
Okay.
And it would switch from lease to rent.
And so, from my understanding, we have a very long waiting list of hangars, right? Isn't it a high demand?
I think it's near 60 now.
And
Okay.
Councilman Gonzalez, I'll let you know, having been a pilot in this area, having worked on every airfield with people and flight instructing and everything else, every airport in the area has a 60-person waiting list. And if you dig down on those, most of them are the same people on every airport, because when you buy an airplane, you go to every airport within 75 miles and put your name on the waiting list.
Okay, but my point is, if we have 60 people who want hangars, they're going to pay a reasonable amount, because according to the study and the national average, 31 cents is reasonable. Why would we not charge as good as we can while we have a 60-person waiting list?
Because first of all, you just said national average. If you go in that study, we're not national, we're regional.
Is there a prohibition to using a national average?
There is not a prohibition.
Then why wouldn't we use the higher amount to
Because
actually
right.
get some of these city employees that are doing airport maintenance? This is money that comes out of the budget to pay for their salaries. They're not under the budget that you look at when we're in the red. You don't see that there are city money that goes into the airport that's not there. There is plenty of city dollars in that airport budget that if it was generating more revenue, that city dollars could be on our sidewalk projects
There's
or
a couple, on what, ma'am?
on our side,
Okay.
things in the city we want to accomplish.
Okay, well, first of all, the FAA order also says that any revenue generated inside the fence, which includes rents, tie downs, flowage fees, and taxes on fuels.
Right, keep it in the airport.
Inside the airport.
Right, so we stop using city money right now because it's creating its own money.
That's correct. But even though you're using city money, even though you're operating in the red, so to speak, lack of a better term, you must still charge what's reasonable. And that's what's reasonable is what is all the other people in your area charging.
Or a national average. No one has said that national average is not reasonable.
No, but the FAA does say that it has to be related to the area that you're in. That's in the order.
I'd like to speak to that, because we're talking about the FAA. We have had conversations with FAA. I have been involved in conversations with FAA as recently as Friday, where we were discussing the 21 cents a square foot. To clarify, FAA did not set any of these fees.
The FAA can't, they won't.
And that's why they didn't do it. You suggested earlier I had said that FAA set these fees. No, that's not
No.
the case. What
That's
FAA
the
told
review
us,
the fees.
what FAA told us we need to do was increase our airport revenues so that the airport would become self-sufficient.
Well,
So that
what
they
the
are-
order actually says is self-sustainable as possible. It doesn't say self-sufficient, doesn't say you have to be in the black. It says self-sustainable as possible, and actually has a provision in there that says that if the airport can't do that because you're in the area, then that's just what it is. Now, to answer your question, Councilman Gonzalez, why should we charge higher? The question is this: Everyone in here shops in the city. Everyone knows there's commodities. Pick a commodity, it doesn't matter. Would you go to a store that's more expensive, or would you go to say Walmart that the commodity's cheaper? The answer is this. Why would I go to Hammond if the hangers are $500 when I can get the same hanger in Slidell for $300?
But then the next person behind you will rent it for 500, and we will get more money that will make the airport self-sustaining.
I see what you're saying, and I do understand that theory. However, that theory still says it has to be reasonable. I understand that, yeah, we could charge $1,000, and maybe.
But it may not be reasonable for you, but it might be reasonable for the next person in line who wants a hanger. I don't understand.
Slidell does not compare to Hammond. Slidell doesn't have an emergency, does not have an emergency group like we have out here. We've had planes that were going down in Slidell, emergency landings, and vectored over to us because they wanted to land in Hammond. Hammond is a much more appropriate airport. We have a lot more amenities in Hammond than Slidell has and other airports have. We are not trying to make a lot of money off
All
it.
of that
We're trying to be self-sustaining with this airport, and we're listening to the people who give us the dollars, and they're very happy with the progress that we're making in the last 5 months,
And
6 months
everything you
since
just
March.
said, Mr. Mayor, everything you just said.
And
goes
I'm
to-
also a pilot. I've also had multiple planes, and I will tell you, this is the airport to be at. Our fuel is not high, and these rents that we're raising are very, very comparable to other airports.
Your fuel's not high, Mr. Mayor?
I don't think the fuel here is high.
Where's your fuel at?
Right now, what is it at?
No. Where is your fuel at? Because the city of Hammond don't own fuel.
It
Top Gun owns fuel.
doesn't matter.
And
The
Pearson's
fuel
fuel.
on the airport, Chris.
The point I'm trying to make,
Fuel
though,
on
is,
the airport.
the point I'm trying to make is everything you just said, the control tower, the fuel services, the runways, all that goes to the cost of operating the airport.
Correct.
Currently, according to the city budget, that cost is $572,000 a year. Okay?
And
So if you take that cost and you take the delta of the cost minus what revenue it brings in, that's your shortage. And you cannot set fees that creates a surplus from that.
Mr.
And
Goodman.
This ordinance, as written, potentially does that.
Mr. Goodman, I tried to explain this earlier. I think I was very clear earlier. The goal is to provide enough funds to maintain the airport. We do not currently have enough funds to maintain the airport adequately. You showed us photographs of the interior of hangars that the city owns that need maintenance. We don't have the funds to maintain them. You showed us photographs of cracked pavement. We don't have the funds to maintain that ourselves. We have to go to DOTD, we have to go to
And
FAA.
that's what those grants are for.
And we're currently using those dollars to redo the taxiways, to redo the apron.
I looked at it, it's beautiful.
But there is a limit on what we can apply for. We got almost $6 million to do the south end of 1836. We won't be able to get that kind of money again until at best 2028 or 2029.
That's correct.
The only
Mr.
reason
Chris.
that we're able to do the taxiways and the apron rehab is because we received infrastructure money separate from the normal FAA
Look,
process.
I'm not arguing that the airport itself is not running in the red. I got that. What I am arguing is these rates are generated without proper research. You haven't done a appraisal. You haven't done a market study, an actual market study, not just call around and say, what are you charging? I mean, yeah, I have 2 masters in an all but dissertation PhD, and I can do a little bit of research. But this is only a snapshot of what a market research study really is. Only thing I'm saying is, before we blanket approve this, we need to take a step back and look at what is actually the cost of the airport, what does it take to run it, and what is the cost of those services. We don't even know if these services are spelled out, and that's what the actual cost of those services are.
We've done that, the finance department has done that, and we know that we are going to be at that level where we need to be. Once again, the FAA is on board with this. We're not, any pilot out there that is on a waiting list will be glad to pick up any hangar that becomes available at the rates that we're asking for. These are not high rates.
When you're talking $525 for a T hangar to everywhere else is $350 to $400.
Correct.
High rate.
Chris, do
And
you
they're not
think-
all
Do you
350,
think,
400.
do you feel that people are going to move out of that airport that's renting right now? I mean,
Okay, being the fact that I know almost everything in T
Yeah.
hangars, I know for a fact that there's 2 people looking to give up the hangars. I know for a fact that 2 other people are looking to sell their airplanes. I know that there's one other person that's tried to fix his installation by himself, and he told me he was stopped by the airport from doing it himself, that he had to run that by the board. I don't understand that why, because I honestly think the airport director should be able to prove letting you fix your own hangar with your own money. But yes, there are people that are looking to leave those hangars because of this.
so who's our competitor that has them, that is about to be ready, having hangars available?
Well, you got SkyX, My hangar's actually almost full, so that's not the issue. And I'm not looking, mine are gonna be lower than these. Mine's gonna be in line with what Top Gun and Pierce are currently charging.
What are they charging?
For a single engine aircraft, it's around $400 each. For when you start getting into your larger twins, like a King Air and those, you're looking at $800 to $1,200.
Well, cents-wise, the cents compared to 31 cents, that's what I was asking.
Okay, so the 31 cents a square foot, you're
Fair.
looking at, your corporate box style hangars. I know currently, right now, the largest aircraft on the airfield is paying $3,200 a month. That's the largest aircraft, and it takes a $2 million hangar to put it in.
And remember this, council, when you have these smaller hangars, you have less movement of aircraft. When you're in these bigger hangars, like Chris's hangars, something called hangar rash. Bumping planes into one another occasionally happens, and that's what a lot of people don't like. Folks like myself who has aircraft would gladly be in a hangar that plane is not being touched or messed with or being moved around
And
very often at all.
People just want their own little garage so they can tinker with their airplane and wash it themselves. I got that.
Correct. And don't
But
mind paying
the-
these dollars that are not that high and expensive.
What I'm trying to get at, though, is the 31 cents is the big one that sticks out to me. Because when you look at the regional average for the regional airports that are the size of Hammond, that study, the same study you came up with, the 31 cents, says regional's 26 cents. So yes, 31 is national average, but you're taking airports that the FAA says isn't comparable. You're taking in Atlanta, New York.
What about the land lease? Is that up par for what you've been seeing or no?
I know what Baton Rouge did. Again, not the same airport. They have a control tower, they have an ARF, they have everything else. Baton Rouge just came up at 21 cents, but they're also a commercial airport. They also have commercial air traffic. If you want to know my best guess, 19 to 20 would probably be the most accurate. And yes, I know that don't sound like a lot, but to get yourself in line, if you wanted my best guess, just from what I know, and I'm not an analyst, I would say 19 to 20 would be right on land lease, and 26 to 27 would be right on rent. The others, I actually don't disagree with. What I do disagree with is the fact that the airport has instituted them way ahead of this council ever done it. In some cases, years. Like I said on the single and tie down, I paid that rate 10 years ago. Why does the airport institute a rate before this council has an opportunity to see it? Same thing with the flowage fee. I just showed you a letter from the airport where they told the FBOs to claim it back in July 1st. And now, all of a sudden, remember last meeting we just introduced this, now all of a sudden Andre decided to say we're going to backdate that to July 1st. Now, if you want to know why that was, is because my lawyer talked to him this afternoon and said, hey, I bought fuel and this just came to my attention. And I just realized that my airplane's been overcharged. And now suddenly, July 1st is the effective date. Had he not done that, we wouldn't have heard July 1st.
That's
We would
incorrect.
have, huh?
That's incorrect. The ordinance as originally introduced was effective July 1. So that was 4 weeks ago?
Yes. Yes.
Did it say July 1st? Because if so, I missed that in the ordinance.
Yes.
Yes.
It says
Okay.
July 1st.
But still, I don't think it's right for the city to collect fees before the board even, or before the council even approves it.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
What are your thoughts on that, Andre? About what he made a comment about charging rates before the council
The
viewed it?
effect of this would be to ratify the vote of the airport board that recommends these increase to you. So basically what you're doing is to say, yeah, we ratify what the airport board did, effective as of July 1st. That's what they implemented. That's what they recommend. They looked at it. I can tell you, I've spoken with the FAA personally. All of what we're doing is seeking to be in compliance with what the FAA has asked us to do. It's a challenge, because as Chris
Now,
said, this is going back a long time.
It goes back a long time, and
So,
don't get me
but
wrong.
Chris, let me,
Sandwich on
Chris, we
the-
could talk about this for 3 hours, because I've had those conversations for 3 hours.
But here's my question now for you, since you said that. How can the airport board implement anything if they're advisory? The city's own ordinance says it's called the Hammond Airport Advisory Board. It is not the Hammond Airport Board. It's not the Hammond Airport Authority. It's an advisory board. And if you read the ordinance, they are supposed to advise the mayor and the director of the airport as to technical operations of the airfield.
And here we are now.
And to present that
Let
to
the
you.
gentleman finish his conversation. Here we are in front of the board. Go
But you're
ahead,
trying to
Andre,
backdate an
continue.
ordinance 3 months ago after you collect $30,000 in rent before. you guys
Regardless,
have
you
the
can go
proof.
back to the 30s and say that things have been done wrong, and we don't disagree.
Again,
We're trying to make them right
I started my
today.
conversation up here saying, I'm not up here to bash anyone or anything. We're up here trying to fix a problem that I see. I'm not up here to try to bash the airport, the mayor, the policy, the director, or anything like that. We're up here trying to see a problem, and we can go forward and try to fix this, we could ratify.
And that's what we're doing right now.
We could ratify that says, hey, we no longer institute fees until the council meets it. Bam, this is done. You guys have that power to do that. I'm, as a citizen, a user at the airport, only trying to bring a problem I see to the council and educate you on something you may not know. I don't think is anyone here a pilot? Is anyone here using the airport?
No.
Exactly. So you guys don't know about this. I seriously doubt anyone sat in the bathroom last night and read the FAA Order 5160.6. Okay? I do. So with
Mr.
that being
Chris,
said.
Mr. Chris,
Yeah.
1 second. Max, this is your question. Andre, from what Mr. Chris just showed us, they've been conducting meetings, and he said at first, they used to know what's gonna be on the agenda. So now, the advisory board don't have to tell them what's on the agenda?
No, they do. I've talked to the airport director about that, Councilman, yeah, and that's been corrected, yes.
Well, I
They
have a
need to have, they need to have an agenda.
Vaughn,
It needs to be posted like
Councilman-
every meeting.
Basically, what happened is you have Mr. Tony, who's in there, who's new, and he is affiliated with many in the industry of the FAA. You also have his assistant in there, who has been in Texas dealing with death of her mother. So, yes, the attachment didn't get put in an email. We apologize.
Well,
but I mean, that's not that he could
I would
not
agree
get
with
that.
you. I would agree with you. Had I not personally called Tony, because he's in my phone, I got his personal number. I've known Tony for 15 years. And he told me, if you want to know the agenda, you need to show up. That is not I forgot to attach it.
Well, that's what-
I am not going to attach it.
Yeah, I don't
And
really
that's
like
what you
that.
say.
Was that
That's
true?
not him able to talk and say what he has
Well,
to
great.
say
I
about
don't
that.
postpone this
But
until he's able to talk.
how often do you go in that office at the airport? A week?
Every other day until the
Right.
last 3 weeks.
So could you have not gone and got an agenda or the attachment? Yes.
I
of
could
course
have,
you
and like you said, I go in there every other day until the last 3 weeks.
So why make it so hard, Chris?
So, Mr. Chris, do they send you out the emails of the agenda?
They normally, okay, now bear in mind, I don't want to beat the dead horse about Mr. LeBou and Mr. Michelli, okay? When LeBou was there, he would send out an email, please be advised and join us for the agenda, for the meeting on X day, and here's a copy of the agenda. Tony has been in charge since, by the way, you brought this up last time, he's been in charge since May 27th. I know this because I phoned Mr. LeBou the day he resigned. And I found out that he resigned on May 27th. From that day on, there has been one council meeting that was actually held. All the others were canceled for whatever reason, lack of decorum, because obviously Tony was a board member, now he's not there. Some were canceled for weather, like the hurricane. There's been one meeting that has actually been held. That one meeting raised these fees. That one meeting did not have the agenda attached. That one meeting, when I called and asked for it, I was told I can't have it. And that one meeting left a lot of people affected off of this, off of the notice. Now, the question I have is, if this council has a wonderful clerk, which I read yours, she certified that this was posted outside. She posted it on the web. If the city of Hammond can post that on the web, why can't they post the airport minutes on the web? Why can't they post the airport agenda on the web? So that anybody can see it. So that any one of these good people can come to that just like they come to this meeting. It's a very good question.
Yeah, because it seems like, Mr. Andre, I'm gonna ask you this here question here. Seems like we got a real problem out there that it's in the process of being fixed, but what we do now?
Councilman, yes, there are things, we're looking at all of that. I recommend you approve this because this is a step in getting things resolved with the FAA, what they've counseled us based upon their review of the airport, what's going on, and this is a step to get this resolved and fixed. There are other things, Councilman, this is not the last, there are other things to look at, but we are working on it. We're working on it diligently to address those issues that were raised.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this here question here. How could we get something fixed if they would have had a meeting the right way, the correct way? Everything he telling us, he could have explained it to them, because I'm talking about the language that he talking. Nobody up here understand that language but the mayor, because don't nobody up here on a plane. So of all them guys on airplanes and hangars, they should have had that discussion at the airport versus having that discussion here. So I'm talking about, I'm just my opinion too. I see it's a problem because honestly, if I'm a renter and you go up on my rent and you don't give me a chance to discuss it with you, and then you just go up on the rent and we ain't have no discussion, I will have a problem too. So,
Councilman?
and I told Mr. Chris, hold on 1 second, and I told Mr. Chris, I said, man, we talking about pennies. So don't come up here talking about pennies, but in the meantime, we should be fair, even when it comes to a penny. Just be fair, and I tell everybody, you have to do things the right way.
Well, Council-
I wouldn't want nobody doing this to me.
Last
We had-
thing, because I know I'm running out of time. Last thing. You're right.
Oh,
We're
you've been
talking
out of
about
time now,
pennies.
Mr. Reed.
I know, I've been way out of time. You're right, we're talking about pennies, but pennies make dollars, and let's go here. The single engine rate, it's been implemented 10 years ago, it's just now coming to council, that's close to $4,000. The flowage rate that was implemented back in July, that's almost $30,000. You're talking about the square foot per lease, that's 21 cents. Sure, the airport lost a lot of money because they didn't manage the leases and they didn't sell them as they should, but by taking what was there, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't there some leases out there 18 cents?
Old leases.
Okay, where did that come from?
Well, let me ask-
The answer is it came from appraisal over a decade ago, because I asked someone who actually knew this answer. Where did the 18 cents come from? Because there are at least 5 leases I know of that are 18 cents. And I called Jason Ball, the director before Dave LeBeau, and he said they had an appraisal 12 years ago. The board voted to increase it, and we just went with it. That's an 18 cents ordinance or change that never came to this board, that was instituted. So if you go back and you look at the land leases, my estimation, if you actually look at all leases, the overcharges in the last 10 years total close to $250,000. That's not pennies.
Take this into consideration, council. These hangars that are out there that the rents are raised, there's not one plane sitting in a box or a T-hanger. There are multiple planes. So you take that $400 and you divide them by 2. People put 2 planes in these hangars, not just one. So that rent is still relatively very cheap, and cheaper than other places when you're talking about the individual owner of an airplane that's sharing a space.
Mr. Mayor,
Now, I don't have a plane anymore.
do you own any rental properties?
Plenty.
Or do you have any families living there?
Do I have? Yes.
Do you charge them more if they got kids?
I charge them more if they have other people.
That you do?
Yes.
So when you go rent an apartment,
children,
it's
but
X number of dollars if you're single, it's twice if you got kids? Come on, that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Sure it does, Darryl.
That makes
Smith.
no sense.
Look, if you have a 3-bedroom
When
apartment.
you rent a hangar, you rent a
Look,
hangar,
look,
and what you stick in is what you stick in.
let me ask you-
Let's not get on that, there's 2 airplanes, because if you look at those 2 airplanes, you're talking about 2 of the smallest airplanes. Councilman Wells?
You're
no
still
one's talking
splitting
about-
the rent in half.
So, Chris, let me ask you real quick. So this discussion you're having right now in this meeting, did y'all not have a meeting that all the renters were able to go to discuss with the advisory
No one
board?
knew it happened.
So nobody had opportunity to do this?
No one knew it
At
happened.
it. So no one?
No
Okay.
one.
All right, so y'all didn't have a meeting before?
Only the few people that happened to be on the email knew a meeting existed. There was no agenda.
So what
to
you
even know.
think, all them renters, how many you think that actually went to that meeting or knew about it?
I only know of one.
And how many they got roughly?
I know in the T hangars, there's at least 10. In the box hangars, there's probably another 10 or 15.
So
On
you
the
thinking
rentals, probably
30, 40, 50?
40, 50, maybe more if you count all the individual planes that are in the FBOs that are paying indirectly rent, because the FBO leases land and then turns around and leases that land to people.
So the
Like
tenants
granted-
meet with Tony all the time. As good as you have been to inform all these tenants about what's going on, do you not think that any one of these tenants that would have called Mr. Tony, gone to see him, or asked him to come see them, that wouldn't have happened? Because he does it every day.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. What I am saying is that's not the proper venue for it. The proper venue, according to Louisiana Revised Statute 42.19, is to have a public meeting that's publicly announced that the public can have comment just like this one.
Andre, you don't see anything wrong with that, with them not having a public meeting on this issue? I mean, that's their realm. No, I'm talking about like from their board, like planning and zoning. They have a meeting and then it comes to us.
They
So I mean,
had
that's
a
how
meeting.
typically, and they post their agenda. So I'm just saying, usually other boards,
Yes.
they post agenda for whatever, and
Yes.
he's saying they didn't have a
Well, it
public
becomes
agenda.
effective with the council. So that's the
I
effective
understand that,
action.
but did they have well, my understanding, what he's telling me right now, if I'm misunderstanding, they did not publicly announce the agenda of this meeting that they had to discuss the proposed new lease rates. Is that correct?
That's correct. And also, go a step further, Mr. Sam. If you go to the FAA order, it actually says the airport is supposed to get with the tenants and determine the impacts of the tenants. So the FAA order only backs that up. You're right. There was no meeting that was purposely announced that the public could come to and voice their concerns because of the meeting. And I'm not trying to beat up.
And there were
I'm not trying to
multiple
beat up
meetings
area.
that had this topic on the docket in the past, correct?
What, on this topic? This topic?
Not this last meeting. Prior to this, on this topic, it was discussed and talked about raising rents, raising the lease
Are you referring to
payments.
the airport board?
Yes.
Okay, again, this goes back.
That's a yes or no question.
The airport
Was this
board
not
meeting-
on the
I'm gonna
past
clarify.
meetings?
Well, sure, there might have been some in the past, but I'm talking about this right here. The airport board meeting that generated this ordinance in August did not have an agenda attached to the announcement, and that announcement was only specifically selected to the persons it received. That is a problem.
Yeah, I see a problem with that. Is that true? Is that accurate? Pete and Mayor, is that, and Charles, is that accurate?
Actually, it's accurate that the attachment didn't go out. As far as Chris saying who was on the attachment, you have someone who's new who may have not have sent the proper attachment to everyone, but this topic has been talked about the past months at that board.
I mean,
You got Mr. Wayne right there. Let him come up and speak about it. See what he have to say. He a board member.
Here's the answer to your question, Mr. Sam. That's the actual email that went out. It's very select on who it was, and there's no agenda attached.
I mean, that's the only problem I have. I mean,
Who besides you is having a problem with this? You said they
well,
got 40, 50 people out
If you're
there.
from the airport, raise your hand. There you go.
I see 6 hands. You said they had 50-something people or 50-something planes out
I
there.
was only able to talk to about a dozen. There's one actually flying right now. My lawyer, who was actually coming too, he's stuck in traffic in Baton Rouge. Whether there's only 6, Mr. Stephen, I understand that may only be 6, but guess what? That's 6 citizens who have a problem. And how many people normally come to these meetings?
well, that's my problem right here. I just think if you're talking about something serious, I don't have an airplane. I don't know the rates on that industry. I mean, I think a public meeting needs to be announced with the agenda to discuss these rates, and not here at their meeting, and then after that come to us. That's just my thought process. So, I mean, I'm all about tabling it, letting this notice go out properly, have their meeting amongst the people who have planes and renting spaces, and then see what happens. I mean, I think that's just fair before you start making an adjustment that hasn't been adjusted for years that should have been done. And it's shame on the city if they didn't look at that a while back. But I mean, now just do it the right way and let the people know that's
And can
renting
we also
spots.
try to get an appraisal to find out even where we're at?
I mean, I would think. that
And
would
see,
be the
and
smart
see,
thing
and
to
see
do.
what you're saying there, and I agree with Sam. It should have been done the proper way, and that's why, Mr. Chris, that's why you done held us up a long time just on yours.
Actually,
because
timeout. Y'all should have-
yeah, no, you done held us up a long time talking about your issue when it should have been done at the airport. And, nobody not gonna say nothing. We know it's a problem, but you know what? This is a problem that y'all should have had at the meeting at the airport. And I see, we got Mr. Wayne right there, and hopefully he can help straighten up some things out there. But I agree with Sam. This is something that do need to be tabled, that you all have a chance to talk about out there versus
And I would
coming up here
reiterate,
talking
I am
about
not
it.
saying for a single bit that we don't need rates increases. I'm not saying that they haven't been done in a while and that they're not warranted. What I am saying is we don't know what that should be. We haven't done the research, and we haven't let the public comment.
Andre, you may not know this, do the agendas get posted at the terminal? Like here, like they may go out in a blast to everyone, but they're not actually, what makes it effective as notice of a public meeting is posted on that billboard over there. So do they post these agendas, and if that was done, that's sufficient for public notice?
I
I'm
can't
glad
answer.
you brought that up because here's a picture of the
Can we
airport
let him
terminal.
answer the
Yeah,
question?
That's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
asked
cut.
Andre, yeah. Is that normally what's done?
Yes.
And-
Now,
Wait,
whether
hold on.
that was done.
Sorry, please let him talk. Andre?
Yes. So I know there was an issue with a meeting. My recommendation was to go back and have the airport board confirm the action that was taken at those meetings that was necessary. This is the public hearing. This is the meeting for people to come here to say why it shouldn't be raised. What the airport does is give you an advisory opinion. They give you their recommendation, and this is their recommendation. It's for the council to vote whether it gets implemented. So that's what I would say is if there are people who don't like the rate increase, this is the public hearing for them to talk about it.
But my problem is, I understand, Andre, that's just like all the other boards, planning and zoning, same way. But they post an agenda, and then they have an agenda and they discuss that item, then it comes to us. And it's not selectively sent to certain people if this is what happened. So I would hope not anyway. So therefore, that's my only, unless I missed something, that's my only concern is that you would think it would have been, the agenda would have been posted on a serious issue like this to them.
Yes, sir.
And so therefore to collect proper, feedback from the people who would go. And if nobody shows up to it, well then, nobody cares. But I mean, if if the agenda's not posted, like he's saying, I don't know what I'm missing as far as that goes.
Well, no, sir, I don't think you're necessarily missing anything. I think the airport's a close community. This issue has been discussed for a long time. This issue amongst the airport people has been discussed, has been reviewed. Everybody's had their thoughts on it. This is a public meeting. This is for people to come to you to express their thoughts on what should or shouldn't happen. The airport board is an advisory board. They make a recommendation. This is their recommendation, and it's up to the council to vote whether to adopt their recommendation.
So, actual question. We postponed this for 2 weeks. Will anybody, die or pass away?
Would you be able to get that agenda posted in 2 weeks, or how do y'all have y'all's meeting
I would like
out?
to actually see this go a little bit longer until the next airport board meeting, and have that board meeting properly posted, and give the community a chance to come to the airport board meeting and to readdress this. Since it wasn't posted, technically, we should probably null and void any decision they made, and let that comment re-happen, and let's table this in the meantime. And I would also recommend that we also get an appraisal on some of these land leases and find out exactly what our land is worth. Who knows, Mr. Mayor? It might be worth more. We don't know because we haven't done the appraisal. It's just like selling your house. Do you just pick a number, or do you get an appraisal to find out what it's worth?
God forbid we operate in the black.
So,
And have too
Well,
much money that we can't
I
spend on the airport. Chris, I
I would
think
actually love
you're
that,
beating the
because then
dead
we can
horse,
fix things.
Chris.
We've been here an hour. It sounds like to me there've been meetings. Sounds like to me the people in the airport have discussed this for sometimes, for months. Sounds like to me it was brought to this council to get approved. I don't know why we want to take a step back and rehash all of this and have another public meeting for another 2 hours. This is the public meeting. You've been up here for an hour. I haven't heard from the other 6 people that are sitting down.
And I hope they come up behind me.
Well, no, Steve, we don't have to hear from them if we are.
We're going to have to hear from them in 2 weeks. They're going to come back.
No, but hold up. It ain't all that. What I'm saying is, we wouldn't have to hear from them if they can go have their meeting in their building. He wouldn't be up here now if they would have had a meeting. Oh, he would?
Mr. Wainwright, can I ask you to come up and answer some questions? You can sit down, Chris.
Thank you.
How long have you been involved in the Hammond Airport, officially or unofficially?
I've only been on the Airport Authority Board for one meeting, 1 month.
How long have you had a plane or had or business out there?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years.
In your opinion, would you say that there was sufficient notice of the meeting to discuss the rate increases?
Yes. The notices are always in the airport lobby. Everybody at the airport all goes to the airport office every day.
Pretty much have to.
I go to the airport office every day, and I have no business out there. So it's posted and people know.
Thank you.
But I like how you did that. Mr. Wainwright came up here, only been to one meeting. You ain't talking nobody been to, 12 meetings. You ain't talking nobody been to 24 meetings. You ask, and see, that's how I be knowing. Listen, hold up. That's how I be knowing this here stuff, these little private meetings. That's how you know they be having private meetings. Because, see, I've been trying to get Mr. Wainwright up here for the last 30 minutes, and he never would come. But somehow Steve done called it, and he was able to answer. He only went to one meeting. So if I don't come to no meetings, you can't ask me no questions, because I'm going to tell you, sir, I haven't been to no meetings.
He's only been in one meeting in official
But he the
capacity,
same, but he the
he's been in
same.
other meetings.
Yeah, but guess what? He the same person came up here. No, when you brought him to the board, I didn't vote for him because he couldn't even come up here to the council meeting to be approved of. So this the same guy that I'm gonna ask questions to? No, he couldn't even come to be approved. Y'all remember y'all voted for him. It's the same guy. So whatever he say, it don't really matter to me. He couldn't even come to the council meeting to be approved to be on that board. And I asked everybody, they're gonna be appointed, they're gonna be approved, please come to the council meeting. And I think I said that several times. And you recall, Mr. Andrew?
There are multiple times when
absolutely.
people can't come.
So, but you know what? So if they can't come, we need to put them off until the next time they can come to the meeting. I mean, people that came up here several times that, and I'm not gonna even get in that, but if they can't come to a council meeting to be approved to be on the board, they don't need to be on the board. Simple as that. Now, I say this here, and I mean this here. The hand-picked people, it's always a problem. Then this advisory board. That's all this board is, advisory board. I know several guys. Mr. James, I call his name out, and I normally don't call names out. He been dealing with the airport ever since he been in Hammond. And guess what? How many times he been approached to be on the board? You know, and I sit here and say it, and everybody know who I am. Until I start seeing people look like me, that I can go ask real questions and true questions and give me the truth answer, them the questions that I go by. You know, I have nothing against you, sir, but that was the problem that I be having, because guess what? Diversity, yeah, we got a problem, you know, and I just saw another guy back there that looked like me. Why these guys wasn't asked to be on the board? I just met Mr. Chris, and guess what? I was glad I did take a tour to the airport, and you know what? And I'm proud to say the airport really look good. It's growing. I have no problem with the airport, but guess what? We see that there's an issue, and we done sat here, Steve Leon just said, a whole hour when they could have had that meeting in their building in the airport versus sitting here talking to us about some stuff that we don't even know nothing about.
It's my understanding that they did have their meeting.
Yeah, I know.
So let's not, so what about the other people? Y'all all saying there was no meetings and there was no discussion about raises. Is that what y'all are saying? But there was no prior discussions about fees going up.
Well, I mean, discussions prior to me, you would think the most important meeting needs to be notified. I mean, you could discuss things for years, but I mean, the meeting they had, that's my
So
problem.
y'all never look at the bulletin board? Wait. You never look at the bulletin board?
I want to correct this bulletin board statement because it's come to a thing. When I noticed that the agenda wasn't there, I brought that up to Tony. That bulletin board there was put there after I brought it up, and so far there has been not one meeting held that an agenda has actually hit that bulletin board, because there hasn't been one since then. That agenda box got there after I brought it up prior to this meeting, and before this, August and all the way back through Dave and Jason Ball, there has never been a bulletin board that the agenda's posted at the airport. So let's just clear that for now. You can't just walk in here and see the agenda. It has only been sent out by Dave in email.
So how long would it take to get a meeting agenda posted properly and for y'all to discuss this rate?
Well, I would say
When's y'all's meetings? Is it once a month?
normally it's the second Thursday of every month. So you're looking at October 10th would be the next scheduled meeting unless there's one in advance. But I just wanted to clarify that the bulletin board didn't exist until I brought it up to Tony prior to this meeting. And it has not been there for even one, because the meeting that would have been there got canceled because of the hurricane.
I mean, my thought process to end this is let them have a meeting that's posted, agenda properly, and then bring it back. That's it. Yeah. So that's my thoughts. That's my motions to table it and let them have a meeting, and then.
Well, it comes up
Okay,
in
all
the second.
right, that's fine. Yeah, either way.
All right.
Sounds good.
Hammond City Council regular session agenda, 6:34 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilman Wells,
Present.
Councilman Leon,
President.
Councilman Divatario.
Present.
Prayer. Most gracious and loving eternal Heavenly Father, we thank you on this day. We give you glory and honor and praise that is due your name. Father God, we ask that you continue to guide us and keep us, continue to protect us from all hurt, harm, and danger. My prayer tonight, dear Heavenly Father, is that everything be done decent, order, and pleasing in your sight. Therefore, you would get all glory, all honor, and all praise. We thank you for your Son, who you offered up a living sacrifice just for our sins, and for that I am eternally grateful. Father God, I ask you continue to bless our city, bless this council, continue to bless our city officials, city administration, our fire department, our police department, as they continue to protect and serve us in these streets. If there's ever a time we need you, Father, we need you right now. So I just thank you for all that you're going to do and all that you can have done. I give you glory, honor, and thanks in your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen. For our pledge of allegiance, I ask that all active military and veterans Please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I ask for approval of our August 27th, 2024 minutes, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Leon,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
All right. At this time, we're going to have a presentation made to us by Ms. Karen Walston, the Housing Enhancement Committee. Before Ms. Karen takes the podium, I will acknowledge receipt of email from Tom Hogan and a receipt of notice of receival from the Housing Enhancement Committee as it is being presented, that it will be notated and documented into our minutes of our meeting.
Well, good evening. I'm Karen Walston, 404 South Cherry Street, Hammond, and a member of the Housing Enhancement Committee. There's it's a committee of 6 people, and 3 others are here. Just wait. As you recall, the City Council created the Housing Enhancement Committee last year to move forward on the Housing Strategic Growth Studies recommendation. That was the study that you approved, and it was finished last year and came out with recommendations regarding housing. As we reported to you at your meeting on March 26th of this year, the committee had decided the best route to implementing key housing-related recommendations would be through a local nonprofit. Since then, the committee has been working on finding such a nonprofit. And through our research and investigation, we have identified the Mixon Clayton Bridge Builders Foundation, Memorial Foundation, as the best option for these following reasons. It is an already formed nonprofit. It's located in one of the enhancement areas identified in the study. The foundation has previously developed affordable home ownership housing and has the capacity to administer a housing program. In keeping with the study recommendations, the foundation would be responsible for the following: overseeing the development of affordable home ownership housing on the vacant and blighted properties identified in the study's enhancement areas. The Louisiana Housing Corporation provides financial and other resources to housing nonprofits for this purpose. Another recommendation that we're going to, we're asking the nonprofit to do would be to coordinate with the Louisiana USDA to provide home repair assistance to lower income and senior home owners. That's another one of the recommendations that came out of the study. We would also coordinate, the nonprofit would also coordinate with the LHC and the USDA to provide lower income homeowner buyer assistance. They are an incredible organization. Y'all have heard of them. We need to, as a city, get more involved with what they have for resources, and this would be a way to do that. Also, the foundation would assist property owners with succession and tangled title issues, which I know are a major concern if we want to see some of this development occur. So it is our understanding that the Hammond Tangipahoa Home Mortgage Authority wishes to dissolve and allocate the remaining funds to the city of Hammond. Therefore, the committee recommends that the city council accept the dissolution of the Hammond Tangipahoa Home Mortgage Authority and find the appropriate mechanism to transfer the balance of the remaining authority funds to the Mixon Clayton Bridge Builders Memorial Fund. Oh, that is a mouthful. For use in implementing the Housing Strategic Growth Study recommendations. Thank you for your consideration. Do you have any questions or?
The remaining funds, how much are the remaining funds that they have in the account?
Sir, we don't know that. I mean, we've been given rough estimates, but I think there is someone from the
Okay, yeah,
mortgage authority.
okay.
I don't have a number here, I could get a record, it was several $100,000.
Okay, yeah, complete.
But we're bound by an indenture, and there are certain restrictions in that indenture. The money's transferred to the city will have to follow those restrictions. It's in the trust indenture.
Yeah, and that's why we say
Yeah.
there would be mechanisms that would have to be put into place for it.
As you know, money's
Agreement. Money's what?
fungible.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else from the council?
Yeah, I'll just say, thank you for your work. I think it's a
Yes.
great idea. It meets some goals that you guys set and that this, the council set. My only couple of things, and you and I already talked, but I'm gonna say this publicly so that we know, the dissolution of the Hammond Tangipahoa Home Mortgage Authority, obviously that's on them. Once they dissolve, then we could recognize that. There's nothing this council can do to dissolve them. And then and I do have, I want to make sure that whatever money is coming from that to the foundation for this purpose, obviously, Andre's working on whether it's a cooperative endeavor or something like that, where the city is the stewards of the money and making sure it's used, just so that we have the correct things in place for auditing and following the law.
Of course.
Yeah. So, and my bigger question would be, do we have to wait till the pavilion is built and then there is just only money left that needs to transfer, or is that something that they want to do sooner? But again, that's on them. It has really nothing to do with
Correct.
our timeline.
Correct.
We can discuss about advancing the money after the signing of the city signing contract with the building. It's a very attractive rate, and we would not like to have delays in paying the contract, which could run into the state draw. So we'll discuss.
Sure, we understand that, and we realize that it really is up to the city, the lawyers, to figure out the best way. But just to reiterate, the Housing Authority was set up for this purpose.
Right.
So, and we've gone through the authority paperwork that we were able to receive, that really, you could just tick off what the purpose was, and the purpose is laid out in our recommendations, just so you all understand that. Even though it doesn't matter now that they're converting it, not converting it, dissolving it and giving the money to y'all. But we would really appreciate it to be used for the purpose.
That it was set up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
And then also from our study.
that. Right. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Karen.
We thank you again, Ms. Karen, and that does not fall on deaf ears. Final adoption of ordinance number 1, old business.
Final adoption of an ordinance to rezone all of the property in the city limits within the following boundaries, which is currently zoned RS11-A to RS11, Crapanzino Road, West Side, US Highway 190 West, North Side, Interstate 55 East Side, and Stein Road, South Side. Mayor?
That's what we spoke about earlier. The difference is the agricultural and the trailers, I believe you want to make sure that is not in there.
Yeah, just change that zoning from the RS11A to RS11. Mobile, doesn't allow mobile homes in that area, but side of the district. And, yep.
Anyone else from the public on this particular item? Anyone else from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye. Ooh, sorry.
I got two damn.
Councilman Andrews?
Your little switch.
Aye, yeah.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
I wanted to ask real quick, Pete, while we're on this, there was another one that we proposed, was with the sign, with the name, so I got an email about, P. Nicolosi, name, so it never was changed back.
Legally, it was always,
It was always P. Nicolosi, and it
All
never
we have to do is
changes to
change
the other
the
one.
sign.
So now we just gotta get the signs installed.
that's been ordered, and as soon as he gets in, they'll change it.
Okay.
That's on the back end of the street.
Yes, the back end there. All right. Sounds good. Just want to make sure. Thank you.
All right. New business up under adoption of ordinance.
Final adoption of an ordinance to increase fees for lease and services at the Hammond North Shore Regional Airport.
I make a motion to table this ordinance until the Hammond Airport Authority Advisory Board announces on the agenda, their agenda to the public or to anybody that they need to regarding the leases increase topic. And I would like that to be done prior to the next meeting. This comes to us, and they can have their discussions. I rambled a lot, but that's what I'm trying to do. We're trying to table this. I'm making a motion to table this until the Hammond Authority Advisory Board Airport goes ahead and gets their meeting posted agenda regarding this topic before it comes back to us.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
No.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
No.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Introduction of ordinance, old business.
Introduction of an ordinance of the Hammond City Council amending the official zoning map for the following addresses along Hewitt Road, 515 Hewitt Road, amending from MXN to MXC to MX-C, 0.19 acres in rear of 515 Hewitt Road, amending from RS11A to MX-C, 515 and a half Hewitt Road, amending from MXN to MXC to MXC, 513 Hewitt Road, amending from MXN and MXC to MXC, 411 Hewitt Road, amending from MXN to MXC to MXC. Mayor?
Is the owner in? So, I think one of the concerns, and I don't want to speak for you, Councilman Wells, but was the fact that it was going to commercial. And
Yes.
And then I think you had mentioned it really didn't matter to you. MXN, which was neighborhood friendly, was fine with you because it was perfect for the school that you were planning on putting there.
Yes, sir.
So we could possibly amend that to MXN tonight and get you passed, if that's okay with the council. At the next meeting.
Whenever it gets done. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, thank you, sir, thank you for being patient.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Collins, thank you for being patient. I'm glad we was able to work this out.
Absolutely.
For the better for all the people and for District 3.
Let me ask you this, do we want to go ahead and amend this item to change?
I was going to
Yes.
introduce it as MXN
Yes.
across the board
Yes.
instead of amending the,
Yes.
does that work?
Yes.
Go ahead, Carter. Yeah, go ahead. ahead.
Okay, I make a motion to introduce with all of these items being rezoned as MXN.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
And thank you, sir. Him and I had a conversation today. Me, you, and Colin was on the phone, right?
Yes, sir.
And he did address that he gonna come up here being pretty. And so I want to thank you for being pretty tonight.
If you don't mind, I know it's been a long night, and I sure won't get into airports, but this property is zoned commercial currently. We're just choosing which type of zoning to go with. Mr. Wells and I had a conversation. There's a house that exists on it that will remain a house. It has a renter in that's been there forever. Next door to it will be an empty lot that another house, maybe a duplex, will go. On the corner of Burley and Hewitt will be, on 3 acres, will be one of my preschools that we're going to build. The portion that sides, the 5 acres or so, that portion that sides up to the waters, I'm talking to 2 national companies to bring in a retirement community. So there'll be no bottling companies, there'll be no industrial, no light industrial. We deal with kids, that's all I do, from baseball training to preschools to you name it, we deal with kids. So anything that comes in there will be conducive to the community. And I think doing the right thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank the city councilman for giving me the opportunity to postpone this to get it right. And see, when you postpone things, sometimes it helps out. And I'm saying this here, you know, I sat there and put it on hold, but see how you can work out things, and we didn't even have to fight or nothing. He didn't have no boxing gloves, and I didn't have no boxing gloves. Thank you so much.
New business, introduction of ordinance.
Introduction of an ordinance to increase the millage rate, but not in excess of the prior year's maximum rates on all taxable property shown on the official assessment roll for the year 2024. And when collected, the revenue from said taxes shall be used only for the specific purposes for which said taxes have been levied. Said millage rates are general alimony, general fund, adjusted rate, 8.730 mils. 2024 levy, 9.040 mils. Fire and police, adjusted rate, 9.650 mils. 2024 levy, 10,010.000 mils. Public Works, adjusted rate, 1.930 mils. 2024 levy, 2.000 mils. For a total, adjusted mills, 20.31 mils. 2024 levy, 21.040 mils. Mayor?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I want to remind everyone, this is the introduction. This is the public notice of a hearing that we will have on this in 2 weeks if it's introduced by the council. This is more of a housekeeping issue. The council previously held public notice and a public hearing on this matter back in July, and it was approved. It went from the council to the state legislative auditor's office, where they determined we had missed a new requirement, which was a press release. Previous years, we did a public notice, and the press release was optional. Last year, the press release, as I understand, became a requirement. So they kicked it back to us to go back through this process. Again, this is what was previously approved by the council at a public hearing back in July.
Anyone from the public on this particular item? Anyone from the council? I make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Okay. Introduction number 2.
Introduction of an ordinance requiring quarterly financial reports be provided to the city council at the second city council meeting following the end of each quarter. Councilman Andrews?
I think we got this information came back to us from a report we had done a while back about receiving quarterly reports. It was brought up on our last meetings about knowing our balances and things in our accounts, to be good stewards of it. I put it back on the agenda for us to move forward with receiving these quarterly reports.
Yeah, this was just the proposal a while back that we put in there as a resolution that we're going to change it to an ordinance now, so they actually, enforces it and actually, the administration presents what was proposed. I proposed several years ago, so a couple years ago.
Anyone from the public have a question on that item? Anyone else from the council?
I feel like this is just a waste of people's time and effort. The mayor proposes a budget at the beginning of every new fiscal year. The council reviews that a day and a half sometimes, to go through that budget. Then it comes to the council, and the council then looks at it again and approves that budget. To me, that's all that needs to be, that's all that needs to be done. If anybody on the council, anybody in the city has a question about the budget or wants to find out something, it's all public record, and it can be done. This to me is just another way of micromanaging the administration, which I don't think is our scope and our role, my opinion.
My God, I ain't never heard nothing so dumb in my life. We the city councilmen, we don't know how much money that the city have. We just damn fools up here. That's all. And I'm so surprised, out of all the things that a councilman should have said and would have said, that, yeah, the mayor watched the money. It's our job to control the money, Councilman Leon. And I think that's been the problem all the while, that guess what? You don't know. The question was asked a month ago. How much money, it was asked to us, how much money do the city have? And what's so funny about it, and this is what I done learned, when we have these budget meetings, and it should be coming to me soon, how much each district, money being spent in each district. And it's so sad, Councilman Steve, your district is lacking of funds being spent in there. And that's a good thing, because guess what? Apparently your district don't need nothing. Because when we have, ma'am, and I respect that. And it's so sad that you can sit up here and say something like that, when I think the only thing you done got since you've been up here is a bridge. That's all you done receive. And so you don't see what else a problem, but guess what? You might not see what's a problem. Your district don't need nothing. But guess what? District 3 need everything, because District 3 been behind for 70-some years. 70-some years. That's how long District 3 been behind. So you know what? I'm starting asking for stuff in the budget, and just in case y'all know or don't know, when you ask for stuff in that budget, after 3 years, guess what? It goes away, because you didn't push the issue within them 3 years that you need that. So see how the money, how all the while the money been played with us, and it took me to be up here another year, another term to find out, and just like Mr. Chuck said, a wish list. So we set up at this budget meeting and tell the people the truth. The budget meeting goes so darn fast that we don't even know what's going on. And so that's why we have so many issues now. And you know what? Because I know they got a representative in here. The nonprofits, we didn't give them no money this year because the money was supposed to go on sidewalks and drainage. I love to see the extra sidewalk and drainage I got. I had to stop a major road project in order to get some things done. So, Steve Leon, I truly feel sorry for you. If that's how you feel and that's how you think.
Well, Councilman, if you want to look at capital outlay and track capital outlay, you can do that at any time. If you want to get quarterly reports on capital outlay, I would be agreeable to that. But to get a quarterly report for every department on every expenditure and every revenue that comes in for the whole city, why? Because somebody has to put that together, that's why.
Well, I don't know.
This is just another micromanagement of the administration. We have that access anytime we want. I'm not saying you got to agree with me. I don't think you need to call me dumb, but hey, I get it. But
If you sit up here as a city councilman, something got to be wrong with you, and you asking for stuff for your district, and after 3 years you don't get it, man, something wrong
I
with
have
you.
gotten everything that I've needed from my district, Councilman. And unfortunately, there's a lot of times that the vote just doesn't go my way, okay? But let me tell you, everything that I've asked for, and you go back and look, in capital outlay, everything that I've asked for, you have voted for, along with the rest of the council.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. And I have voted for things for you in District 3. Again, this is my opinion and the way I believe my constituents feel, that the administration is responsible for their budget that we approve. Now, if you want to learn more about it, if you want to manage it more, it's at your fingertips.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, you can't get mad now.
I'm not gonna get mad, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. You know what, today, a public request, and Andre, this is a question for you. I had to pay for a public request, and when do city councilmen start paying for it? Sir?
When you came in today, you paid for the public request.
Yeah, they charged me $5.
That's crazy. Andre said last week that.
We appreciate that donation.
And you know what, though, Steve? And I'm glad you said that. You're going to bother me about a $5 public request. And see, that's why I'm saying, that's why it's so messed up, how rules are not in place. And I paid $5 for a public request today. And I'm like, my God, when do you start charging city councilmen for a public request? And see, Steve Leon, I'm so glad I'm not in your district. Because guess what? I'd have been in the same boat as the clown that charged me $5 for a public request. I'd be in the same boat. That's so sad. And you say it's that easy. But you know what? Every time I ask for something, I never
You
get
get it.
No,
You get it. Go back and look. Go back and look, Councilman.
Every time you ask for something in your district, Steve Leon.
Bring me a list of things that you.
Steve Leon, I'm
Bring me a
glad you
list of
said
things
that.
you didn't get.
And you know what? Now you're going to make the city spend some money, because guess what? We still got a canal they didn't do. Yeah, we still got a bridge they didn't build. So now you're going to make the city spend some money. But I'm glad you said that. Yes, every time you ask for something in your district, I'm always going to vote for it. Because you know why? Steve Leon don't hardly ask for nothing. So I'm always going to vote for what you want in your district.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think financial reports and knowing what's going on is a good for any business or any public funded entity. So, I mean, I don't really know any successful businesses out there or, public nonprofits that don't go over financial reports or quarters with reviews every so often. That's usually pretty important for the business or the nonprofit or public entity.
Anyone from the public? Anyone else from the council?
My only question is the items that are on here, the 8 items, are those easy for the administration to put together? When we last had this as a resolution, and Lacey was here, I think she said something about the programs we had didn't make these easy to implement. I think that's Steve's point, is we don't want to spend an excessive amount of employee time creating these reports. So is there a way to tailor what we're asking so that it's easy and efficient for an employee to give us these things? I think that's my only question is, let's work with the administration to make sure that we're tailoring what we're asking for in a way that is easy to produce.
Councilman Andrew, thank you so much for putting this on the agenda, because this something been needed from day one. And if anybody got good sense, once you follow the money gonna tell you what road it's on. So thank you so much, Councilman Andrew, President Andrew, for putting this on, because guess what? It don't make sense to be up here and we don't know where the money at. Thank you.
Any other questions? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah, to introduce, I'm sorry.
Second.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez. Councilman DiViterio.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
No.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Other business to discuss.
City Council to continue the.
Hold up, Ms. Lisa, one question. Charles, I would like to be able to meet with you in between now and the next meeting to see the capabilities of what we're asking for on this report.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Lisa.
City Council to continue the discussion on how to move forward with opening an investigation into the building department office regarding any and all matters. Councilman DiViterio.
This is regarding a issue that we had that came up a couple meetings ago, and we voted to have the investigation started in the building permit office. And I'm still personally working on it, trying to get something put together the best way, meeting with different people. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I need a little more time myself, but anybody here on the matter that wants to say anything about the issue, feel free to come up and discuss anything they'd like to bring up.
Cindy Grega, 1108 Rue Chalet, Hammond, 70403. Indirectly related to that issue is still the issue of the property at 1100 Rue Chalet. I appreciate the progress that's been made with the compromise and agreement that the mayor signed with the owner, but I have some questions about it. I spoke with Andre briefly about it. So I don't understand, first of all, why we had to compromise with someone who violated the ordinance. That's number one. I also asked if anyone had gone inside the property to see if what actually had been done, because we said we did have no proof. I'd been inside the property along with my husband and a realtor, and we agreed to sign an affidavit, but Andre tells me that since this compromise agreement was signed, that we no longer need to do that and that the situation is resolved. I asked him, how do we know that it's resolved? Well, the owner agreed to take down or put back a door that connected the units. Well, how do we know that he did that? There's nothing in the agreement that has a deadline. There's no compliance. There's no date that says he has to do it by a certain time. Andre tells me that he can't tell me who went in and made the inspection. So that's a question I have too. Who went in and inspected the property when this compromise and agreement was generated, was executed?
Who did that? Administration knows who inspected?
First and foremost, he wasn't given access to the house.
So no one inspected it?
Absolutely not. Andre, because of Mr. Phil Graziano, who apparently knew the gentleman and Nikki Muscarella is why this thing went to where it went, to where the owner agreed to taking down the fence. And apparently you've been in the house, so it was a door, one door that was cut through, was boarded up, correct? You saw this?
I couldn't tell because I couldn't get into the other units. I couldn't tell where they had made the
Okay,
alterations.
thought you were going to sign an affidavit saying
I'm
that you saw.
willing to sign an affidavit that I went in and saw that I didn't have access to the back unit, but Andre said that I didn't need to, but I think I do need to, and I also think that we need to have a licensed contractor to go in and inspect the property, because I don't believe the owner.
Miss Cindy, who told you, somebody from the city told you that they went in and inspected it?
Andre told me that someone went in, and I asked, who was it? And he
Okay.
said, I don't want to put that name out in the public. Is that right, Andre? Do we have that conversation? Okay. I don't understand that. Why wouldn't we want to know?
I just can't understand why I can't ever get a straight answer up here at this podium. Earlier tonight, and the same here. You're saying that somebody went in, Andre, and the mayor's saying absolutely nobody went into the place. So I don't understand why nothing can ever be the same answer. I don't get it. So, Andre, did somebody go in there?
Yes, I was told someone went in there.
Who told
Look,
you that?
Look, Cindy, I'm not going to get, the owner confirmed for me, is the fence down? Did the fence
I
come
don't
down?
know. I would be trespassing if I went into his backyard, so I don't know.
Well, we can look and verify that. The owner told me that he took the fence down. The owner told me that he did the interior remodeling. That was confirmed to me by someone, a reliable source. And
But you
I'm
won't
told
tell us
that
who. And we know the owner is a stand-up guy, because that's what the Daily Star said when he interviewed him and interviewed the mayor, but he didn't interview any of the residents of Villa West. This is not going to go away. The rest of my questions are moot, because since no one went in to inspect it, we don't know if the owner has done what he says he's done or not. Nobody's documented it. Nobody's taken photos. There's no deadline. I mean, it could be 2040 before he takes the door down or puts the door back up.
So, Miss Cindy, let me ask you a question. They was asking you about, will you sign the affidavit and all of that?
I didn't sign it. It was done away with because the stand-up guy took care of it, and we trust him. Apparently, we trust him. We trust the source, but we're not to know who the source is.
Mr. Andre, Mr. Mayor, Miss Cindy shouldn't still be coming up here.
That's right. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, she shouldn't be still
I could
coming.
be home watching Matlock reruns.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know, the mayor and the attorney said we need proof. You know what? Villa West residents need proof.
Yes.
We need proof. We don't want our property values to be devalued anymore because of the stand-up guy from Mandeville who rode in and decided to turn a single-family home into a duplex. And you know what? It's still a duplex. He may have put a door up, but there's still a full kitchen in the back unit.
Well, Miss Cindy, I appreciate you coming, but Mr. Andre, you can't even sit there, and it's bad, and I mean this here. It's bad when we can't trust you no more. And Miss Cindy sat here and said that, yeah, I want you to talk. It's bad because them the ones have the issue. I don't stay in Villa West. You don't stay in Villa West. The mayor don't stay in Villa West. And there's one thing I will say this here. On the west side of Villa West, if we don't put a stop to this, that west side, the east side gonna look like the west side. And we know how the west side look. And guess what? She got every reason to be mad. You sat there and said that y'all need proof. Mr. Mayor sat there and said that. Why is she still coming up here? Y'all took the concrete up, and if I was the man and I said on the mic, I'll sue y'all. Y'all ain't have no business in my yard. Y'all gave me a permit to go put the concrete down, and I'll sue y'all from going in my yard. Because just like y'all straighten that up, go in that house and straighten that up the same way. That's all she keep asking
And are
for.
we going to put a lien on the property to recoup the cost that the taxpayers had to pay?
Taxpayer got to pay.
Jackhammer up? No, we can't, because it was a compromise, because there was a permit.
So
But how you know it was
we
compromised?
don't.
That's what they say.
So we're paying for that, the
It's-
taxpayers, or I mean, city's paying for that, or the owner is paying
Compromise
for it?
settlement agreement.
Yes, city paid for it.
Okay.
City paying for it. And Steve don't want
You know what?
Steve don't want a record of the money.
By executing this agreement, the owner does not admit to any violation of city ordinances.
All right.
I gotta sit down before I say something I shouldn't.
Jill Dangerfield, 1,000 Rue de la Paix. I do understand how Miss Cindy feels, and again, I think I said this before to the mayor and to our city attorney. There's no reason in getting upset over this whole thing because of the fact this is our property. And we are very concerned. We're not people that's going to bow down. We're going to keep coming. We're going to keep fighting it. We're going to want to know what's going on because it is our property. And not only that, our community votes. And we will vote. Anytime there's something going on that we don't like, and we don't like it right now, there's nothing the mayor can tell us when it's voting time. If this situation isn't taken care of, don't come in our community. Because we're not, just like you handled this with someone outside of Hammond, and y'all compromised to let this guy come in and do whatever he wanted to do because he has a little store here in Hammond, you compromised with him. The city paid for it to have the concrete picked up, so then again, the people lose because we have to eat that cost. And all I'm saying at this point, we're just asking for things to be handled and handled right. We don't want to have to keep coming up here because, of course, I have other things to do too. I'm at work every morning for 7 o'clock, and I don't want to sit here in the evenings trying to figure out what's going on in our community. So I just hope we can get this handled.
I'm Mike Bornholt, 805 Delmore Boulevard. I voted for you, Pete. I didn't vote for you. But for some reason, we put our trust in public officials, and then our two public officials don't let us know what they did. It's a secret, and we're supposed to trust them. 4 weeks ago, I mentioned that because the city did something that was not exactly right, due to we had a deceased person that signed a permit. The city bears some liability, I understand that. But on the other hand, the man that owns the property had a contractor that told one of our residents, hurry up and let's get this done, so the city can't come back and make us undo everything. From my understanding, I haven't been inside the house, but from my understanding, there's 2 kitchens in there. Regardless of what they've done, the secrecy has got to go. You can't keep things a secret and expect the rest of us to just let things go. And I can't think of anything else other to say other than the secrecy has got to stop. We should have anybody that wants to check that, why hide it if he's done the right thing?
Well, I'd like that to be verified, Andre, some which way, to go in there and check. We got to get a judge or whatnot to verify this, and then by the next meeting, I plan to have some proposals as far as the investigation goes, so.
As of right now, we have Dana Brown, who is a certified planner, who is under contract with us to help us to get through any zoning issues. And we also have Robert Morgan, who was with us. He retired 2 years ago and came back to us, and certified building official who's working with us as well. So the two positions are covered until we actually, I think we're interviewing Friday for one. We've been interviewing for grants at the time right now. We have, I think, one more interview to do with them, and then we'll be moving on to the other two. But the two positions are covered by certified individuals. And as far as the home goes, I can only do what I can legally do. So as of now, if the only way that we can get in that house is for you to sign this affidavit saying, nope, can't do that.
No, we don't need to.
I listen to legal counsel, correct? So I can only do what I'm
We just
told.
said a judge order. He just said a judge order, I guess.
The
huh?
affidavit, yeah, well,
Or
we're not going to need a court order.
okay.
The affidavit was to, for the enforcement of the violation. That would have been your testimony as to the condition that existed at some time in the past. That condition's now changed. So all we have to, we'll go in, well, because at the request of the council, you've
Yeah.
asked for verification, we'll have someone in there to inspect it. We'll do that. I'll ask the building official.
Are they going to document it? Are they going to take photographs?
Yes.
Able to see that proof?
Yes. And let me say about secrecy, I mean, I understand your question. Cindy, you asked me, we talked about it, you asked me for that agreement, I sent it to you, maybe that same day. Yeah, Cindy, but you know, I gave it to you without a public, not needing anything official, you asked for it and I gave it to you. So it's not like anybody's trying to hide something from anyone.
Oh, I guess the issue with that was that, you know, you told her that, you know, somebody went in there, the mayor saying nobody went in there because it, you know, and so to me that needs to stop, whatever that, we need to be for sure what happened or what not. I mean, because they told her, and I mean, she just said that, she was told that, and then he said nobody went in there. So I don't think nobody.
Well, I think the mayor's testifying to what he knew, and I'm saying what I know. And
Okay.
It might be two different things. Mayor and I didn't communicate. No, ma'am, we don't. Honestly, when we need to speak, we speak, but we did not speak directly about this issue here, about going, who went in to see things.
Well, we'll just get documentation this next time, so there's proof and we have record.
Okay. Resolution.
Yeah, go ahead. That's right.
Like I mentioned 4 weeks ago, I'm kind of curious, because of the liability, it seems as though this is a minor situation with the permit. It's a major situation in what he did and him trying to cover it up.
Well,
If I was going to throw numbers out there, I would say the city was probably 25% at fault, and he's probably 75% at fault.
I agree. That's why there's an investigation that's going that will start soon, and that's exactly right. There's something going on wrong there, obviously. I agree. Thank you.
Resolution number 1.
A resolution to approve Shuker LLC located at 1200 South Morrison Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403 to obtain an alcohol permit for a convenience store. The owner is Shuker LLC. Mayor?
This is a change of ownership. All the inspections have been complied with. Is the owner? Please come to the front, sir. Mr. Badi, did I pronounce that right? Betty. I'm sorry, Betty.
Any questions? I mean, it's a gas station that has had a liquor license, and for many, many years, it was a Kmart. It was a Circle K before, and then it changed Major's management of commercial property owner acquired a bunch of Circle Ks in the area, and then they leased out to 2 owners before me. So they've had a liquor license for a while. And we are committed to being responsible vendors, and we have signed up with the Louisiana Responsible Vendors. All the employees that work there are responsible, have the certificate, and we're committed to serving the community with fuel, snacks, tobacco, liquor, and alcohol products responsibly. And besides that, I mean, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So you're the new owner of you're the new owner of the one, is that the one by the mini storages, or is that,
Right by the Regions Bank.
oh, that's on, close to Villaway, okay, that's, on close to Ruth Simone, okay, that one, okay. So you're the new owner of that one now, okay.
Yes.
So that's in your area, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, you have a lot of minors come through there. I don't know how long you've been in business, but they have a lot of underage people come through there,
Yes, sir.
and they coming out of my district, and so
Yes,
just
sir.
want you to be aware of it.
Yes. As humanly possible as,
Yeah.
we can. I've instructed my employees and myself also, and they've tried, and I admit that. But, we don't allow anybody without an ID to get their hands on anything that's, alcohol or tobacco.
How long you been the owner of that store?
Sir, well, my lease was effective August 30th, but the changeover happened September 9th, so 15 days.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I went there the other day, man. Your gas is real cheap, so you got a good price on gas.
We serve the community, but sir, there was just one thing was that I waited 4 weeks to get this license approved. So it did, I lost a lot of sales because of not being able to sell alcohol, beer, wine, so. And I mean, it's probably not the best place to mention here, but Louisiana State issued me a Class B packaged off-premises liquor license in less than 9 business days, and it was before I took the store over, so, and we contribute in sales tax to the community, so sir, it would have been a win-win situation for everybody, but now we'll have to work hard to bring our sales back up.
All right. Thank you so much, and welcome to the city of Hammond.
Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Resolution number 2.
A resolution of the Hammond City Council regarding postal delivery. Councilman Wells?
All right, thank you. Andre, you might can help me explain this. Thank you, Andre. I kind of figured that. You okay? You okay? I know why you're not talking. You okay? But, Ms. Pam, can you come up, please? But this is the city attorney that we're paying, and you know the questions that Ms. Pam had came to you about, but it's a shame we take things so personally. That's all I ask everybody. Please just do your job. That's all I ask for. Thank you, Ms. Pam.
I had spoke with Attorney Kudran, so can you give us an update so far what's going on?
Yes, so immediately after the meeting, I communicated with Councilman Scalise's office and Councilwoman Letlow's office. They're the elected congressional members. This is a federal matter. The U.S. Postal Service is a federal matter governed by federal law, federal jurisdiction. That's the avenue to discuss with it. I immediately got their cooperation. I was sent some papers to be filled out so the congressman's office could make the inquiry with the Postal Service. I got that information. I filled out most of it for you, Ms. Pam, and got most of the information filled out for the residents. So there's strength in numbers, as we know, right? So I suggested to Ms. Pam that she get as many people as possible from that area to fill out these requests for information. That basically, it allows the congressman's office to communicate with the Postal Service on behalf of these residents. So I gave you maybe 30 or so, Ms. Pam. I'm not sure how many. I gave you as many as you asked and gave you some more because you wanted some more.
Right.
And so that was filled out. That was presented. I transmitted that to Councilman Scalise's office. That office's representative said he would communicate back with individual persons who submitted that paperwork with any further questions they had. I spoke with Councilman or Congresswoman Letlow's office with someone in a Washington, D.C. staff, and he told me that he had engaged the U.S. Postal Service about this issue. I sent him the same information that we sent to Congressman Scalise's office, so that office would also have that. So he has all of that information. On Monday, I sent an email to each of them asking them if they had any updates, that the city council would be meeting tonight, that this matter would be on the agenda, and asked them if they had any updates to report on their progress. And as of now, they've not given me any further report on their progress. But he did say in the email they have been engaged. They have engaged the Postal Service on this issue.
Okay, because I know my street would like to have some answers. We have been seeking, we had petition done, we had about 27 forms sent in. On the last meeting, I had an 80-year-old neighbor that sat back there a long time. She needs results. People weren't getting their medicines. Some were forced to put up mailboxes that they couldn't afford. We need help, Mayor. We need some help. I know you probably know the postmaster. It's just a simple phone call. There have been changes made when the right people get in and say some stuff, but my community don't need to be going to the road. Most of them are over 70 and 80 years old with no shoulder, ditches, and to put them out there. My mother lives with me, and her task is to go get the mail, but she can't go to the road now. I don't want her at the road. She's 79 years old, and it's just dangerous. We need help with this matter. I know you suggested other ways of doing it, but we need some help. And I went to my councilman, and he advised me to go into some other areas, but my people are here. Sean have parents that are over 70, pillars of the community, and they can keep going. They cannot do this, and for their medicine to be withheld. That's not right. That's not right.
I got Ms. Wagner. Could you please come up here? Thank you. You know you can always leave, huh? Yeah, well, just go. Go. Yeah, because I'm taking it personal. Come up to the front, Ms. Wagner.
Okay, my name is Gloria Wagner Jones. She said somebody was 70. No, I'm 82. And this has really been an inconvenience for me to have to go out to the road to get my mail. I mean, I had to get one of my children to buy a mailbox to put out there. And then when I was on another street, I noticed there were no mailboxes. And I said, well, maybe the post office hadn't gotten in touch with them yet about putting mailboxes out. But later on, I found out it was just a few streets that was told to put mailboxes out. And I wondered why, so I got with my city councilman to find out why, but it's concerning somebody with a dog. And it's my understanding that people with a dog at the city limits was supposed to have the dog on a leash. Now, if that dog, if those people's dog was not tied up, why should everybody be punished for that particular person's dog? That's not right. That's not right, Mr. Mayor.
I agree with you. I agree.
Okay.
Ma'am, you have to come to the microphone. Your name and address, please.
Sean Corbin, 114 Maryland Street. And my parents are over 70, both of them. The dog issue. The mail or packages can be brought to the door by the postal services and dropped off. Packages, but the mail can't. I watched them bring packages to the door, and I leave them out at the street at the mailbox. They're dropped to the door. So if it was a dog issue, how can you bring the packages to the door and drop them off? And I put my mail on the side of the box at the door. That's why a lot of unanswered questions that we have.
It is. Thank you, Ms. Shawn. And this is what's going on. And this is what I said. I say it's amazing. The dog was on Carolina Street, and Sam had the same issue with the postmaster and the dog. and we the city councilmen passed the ordinance that all dogs supposed to be on leash. And they try to sit there and do that to their community, put the mailboxes on the street. And Sam's community was elder people, just like my community. But I say it's amazing, and it's only so much I can do. When I talk to the residents in District 3, and Ms. Pam can verify, call the post office, no answer. Kept calling, no answer. Then when she go up there, she have to stand in line as if she picking up mail, just like everybody else. And I got one of the residents, 85 years old. He asked a question. The post office, he asked a question, why we got to get mailboxes put up? The person at the post office, what was her name?
Jennifer.
Miss Jennifer, sat there and said, we doing this throughout the whole city of Hammond. I said, okay, well, if she doing that through the whole city of Hammond, ain't nothing I can say. But I want to know if anybody else been getting these notice, like District 3 been getting these notice, because you saw Miss Wagner. You see the condition that the community, it's an old community. And everybody afraid because guess what? We're dealing with medicine. And they not going to say it, but I say it. We have rocks that the kids smoke in the neighborhood. So we got drug-infested neighborhood. So if they up there sitting there calling their addresses out, and they got medicine going to their mailboxes, what you think what the crackhead is going to do? So you see the position that you put them all in when you sit here and say, give your address? That's why I kept saying we need to stop saying that, you know, because I look at Miss Wagner, and y'all see she walk with a stick. And it's like, damn, what a passion it for the people that did all of this for us to get here. That's what I see. You always hear me talk about the elders. You hear me talk about the kids. Should no kids go through what Miss Wagner and them have been through. I keep telling you, I got to talk about the past for us to get to the future. So if we doing this here, so Andre, you can talk to the people at the post office, and if we doing this throughout the whole city of Hammond, because that's what was told Miss Pam. So that's all I want to know. We doing this to everybody, because I look at it like this here, and I'm always gonna say it. I hope they ain't being racist up there, because this is an all-black district where they stay at, and they got 4 streets. Shouldn't four major streets shouldn't be punished for one person?
Well, the problem is I had that in my district as well, and they wanted to say it was because of the dogs and the mailman. And then I go ahead and update the ordinance that for the penalties for the dogs on no leashes, and they're still not enforcing the no leash law in the city of Hammond that we upgraded and did. I had actually somebody email me earlier from, I think, Westdale. Miss Lisa sends me an email and says something about a pit bull attacking somebody. They called the police department, and the police department said, oh, you need to call the councilman Wells because he's working on something. That's been done 3 years ago, and they should have a copy of the ordinance that me and Andre went ahead and went over. And if they don't have a copy, do they not communicate with the city administration of updated ordinances that something enforced? Because why are they calling me? I'm not the police officer. The police officer, they get paid to be police officers to enforce the law, not me. So why did they say that email? I'm blown away by that email. They said that they need to call the council because he's working on something. I'm not working on nothing. That was 2 years ago. Why did they not go and get the dog taken care of? I have no idea. Did you hear anything about that, Pete?
Did not, but I do know that once the pound is called, they need to actually catch the dog out there. So I don't know if these owners of these pets are pulling them off.
I don't think the police officers know what the new ordinances are. It's enforced. They get a fine. It's at their discretion. They could take the dog. They can fine them $500, $250, and everything. So for no leash. So it's pretty simple, and it was updated, and it had teeth. Me and Audrey worked on it for a while. It has a lot of teeth in it now to actually enforce it, but they have to do it. And they got to know what it is. And if they don't know what it is, can we please send the HPD what the new ordinance is? Charles, can you get that, administrator, can you get that over to them like tomorrow? And make sure they understand what the new rules are?
Sure, we'll do that.
And I understand it's a resolution, but we need it to be resolved. We need some answers, because my community can't, they're not safe. They're not safe.
And also talk about, and I'm gonna say this here, they received 2 letters. And the 2 letters they received, one letter was telling them to get the mailbox, and the next letter told them they're not gonna receive no more mail at their house, and they no longer can come to the post office and pick up the mail. So it's like you truly forced them to buy mailboxes. Regardless if they wanted a mailbox or not, they were truly forced to buy mailboxes. So that's where we stand now till this day. And so, and I say this here and I mean it, treat everybody the same. I got a mailbox. So if they got to have mailboxes, so I want to see mailboxes go throughout the whole city of Hammond. Since you started something, let's finish it. And it's bad that if you started that over there, well, it's a lot of truth. And you know the issues that we be having? That we have people talking, and you don't even know what they saying, were they telling the truth, were they telling a lie? Because guess what? They knew what was coming up. And I'm quite sure, Andre, you should have called somebody at the post office, since it's federal. You should have called somebody at the post office and let them know what we're going to be talking about tonight, because we had a whole month to discuss this. And because I'm not going to go to the post office. My mail come to my house. Not my house, but, you know, in that mailbox that I got. But it's a shame, though, that they had to get, that they had mailboxes on their house. And the lady, one of them, 82 years old, I went to her house yesterday. And she told me it's hard for her to cross the ditch to get her mail, when normally they've been putting her mail on the house, her medicine. And it's sad. That's what we're up against. And you're going to hear me say it now, and I say it again, that drugs are bad in our community. We need help. We need help. Thank you.
Resolution number 3.
Are we going to take a vote on
Oh,
this
yes,
one?
right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Oh.
This is what we'll use as an expression of the council. I'll send this, once it's all signed and done, to our congressional representatives and to the local postmaster. Yes, that's what that was the request for our congressman to contact the post office, reverse whatever decision was made. Ms. Pam, that was the request we made. That's my communication with them. But this is the official act of the city council saying, don't do this.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Leon. Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Resolution number 3.
A resolution, 1, accepting an $8,800 grant from the Healthy Communities Grant Program to purchase trash liners and cleanup supplies to reduce litter in Hammond. 2, approving a 15% in-kind match in volunteer hours. And 3, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. Mayor?
This is a grant that we applied for several months back, and we were fortunate to receive a grant award of $8,800. There's no cash match requirement. The match on these grants comes from our volunteers with Keep Hammond Beautiful. We have a lot of public trash cans. They're made of steel, they last a long time, but the liner that is a rubberized, sort of Rubbermaid style can inside. And those have begun to deteriorate. In some cases, they're missing. So this will hopefully allow us to replace the vast majority, if not all, of those older liners with new liners to help contain the garbage and make pickup easier.
All right. Anyone from the public? Any questions from anyone on the council? I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Resolution number 4.
Resolution 1, accepting a $7,200 grant from the Keep Louisiana Beautiful Beautification Grant Program for improvements to Morrison Alley. 2, approving a 15% in-kind match in volunteer hours. And 3, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents.
This is another grant similar to the previous one, same funder, Keep Louisiana Beautiful, no cash match. It's an in-kind volunteer contribution. The $7,200 will be used to landscape Morrison Alley, which we're in the process of removing that old building from the North Cherry Street side, putting in a new pocket park that will be similar to the pocket park on the Cypress side.
Y'all putting a pocket park or park? It's going to be parking spots, right? Or
Yes,
what are y'all doing?
It's a combination of both. There will be a new pocket park on the North Cherry Street side, but we'll also be expanding the amount of parking in that park, in the alley. We'll be roughly doubling the number of parking spaces. I think we have about 14 now, and I think we'll end up with about 26, if I remember correctly.
Okay. 'Cause I know that the need for parking over there is pretty important, you know,
Right.
so I hopefully the park doesn't take away from whatever y'all have going on. That could kind of sound like more of a park than it is parking lot. So, I mean, I know that's
It's a,
on that other side, like a couple benches or something.
right. Something roughly the same size, maybe a little bit smaller. And this was a compromise with the Historic District Commission. This falls within the Historic District of Hammond. So we want to try to preserve some of the streetscape. And they had proposed a pocket park that matches the one on the other side. The other thing we'll be doing with that space is when it's not being used as a parking lot for different events like the Brews Art Fest, Art of the Cocktail, different events in downtown, we'll be able to convert that entire space into an event space. So it'll be a multi-purpose space when it's not being used as parking. But during the normal work week, Monday through Friday, the normal work day, it'll provide additional parking for City Hall, the courthouse, local businesses, et cetera.
Anyone else have any questions on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilman Wells?
Resolution number 5.
A resolution, 1, accepting a grant of 100 trees from the Apache Corporation Tree Grant Program for an annual Louisiana Arbor Day tree giveaway, January 17, 2025. And 2, excuse me, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. Charles?
This is another one of those grants that we apply for pretty much every year. I think the last couple of years, we were not successful in getting trees. This year, we were very surprised to get essentially what we asked for. So these were trees that, or will be trees that we'll receive and will be freely distributing to citizens of Hammond on Louisiana Arbor Day in January of next year. It's been a successful campaign we've done in the past. We allow people to plant trees in their front yards and try to recover some of our treescape. These are generally smaller trees, not trees that are going to provide kind of hazard, so we're excited.
Anyone from the public? Pleasure of the council. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Resolution number 6.
A resolution to ratify bids for the pavilion and to award a contract in the amount of $774,900 to the lowest responsible bidder, Kelly Construction Group. Tom Pistorius.
Good evening. Tom Pistorius. My office is located at 109.5 West Thomas Street. I am the architect of record on this pavilion, and we had a bid opening right here in this room on September 6th, and it was full house. So we had 10 bidders that showed up and submitted bids, and Kelly Construction is the apparent low bidder, right at a budget of $774,900. So, in talking with them, they're comfortable, and I sent a letter to the mayor recommending that we award this contract to Kelly Construction.
Tom, what's the alternate? What's that? What were y'all
That was
proposing?
an idea if we needed to take any money out, like if
Shorten
it
it?
came in way over, it would be a deduct, and it
Oh,
would
okay.
shorten the building by.
But you're within budget with the original
Within budget,
plan.
so we're not touching
Okay.
anything on it.
Anyone from the public? Any other additional questions from the council?
Okay, that's fine.
I did receive an email, as I stated earlier, from Mr. Tom Hogan that I will present to go in as a part of our official record. Any other questions, anyone from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve? Second.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Resolution number 7.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tom.
A resolution to approve the mayor to enter into a contract with Pointer Smith Contracting for railroad track repairs in the amount of $54,650. Mayor,
This is the contract to repair the rail spur going out to the airport, to the pallet company, and to also Home Depot. Request approval so we can get those repairs taken care of.
Anyone from the public on this item?
Yes. Not from the public, from the councilman. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I know we're about to vote on this here. Look, going into KIP district, and I know Councilman Andrew, he done mentioned it several times. I ended up having to cross over that track today. What could we get done about that street over there?
You talking about Holly Street?
Yes.
If it's rough crossing it, is what you're talking about?
Yes.
Those rubber mats would need to be put down. That's generally the way they're moving into repairing those tracks, so.
Okay.
Just need to look into the cost of that and put that on schedule to be repaired as well.
Yeah, because I looked at the difference between North Cherry Street and then you go over one block. I mean, it's a big difference. And Councilman Andrew, he done mentioned it several times about it. I ended up having to cross over today. I forgot about it, that it was so rough there. But yeah, we definitely need to get that fixed over there. Since we, trying to get the railroad spur up to code.
If you don't mind, I'm going to get that contractor to give us a price, and we may come back to you after you approve this for an adjustment, if it's reasonable to you.
That's okay with you?
Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Resolution number 9.
Number 8.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I crossed mine out earlier. Go ahead.
A resolution, one accepting $1,140,273 in Federal Aviation Administration grant funds for terminal, apron, joint, reseal, and taxiway, A&E point repairs at Hammond North Shore Regional Airport. And 2, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. Mayor?
This is one I referenced earlier. We were very fortunate. We bid this project out July 12th. We had 4 bidders. I'll call attention to there's an attachment that's on the number 11, which actually should go with number 10. But 8, 9, 10, 11 are all related. We were looking at a potential budget of about $1.42 million total for construction. The low bid came in at about $1,092,080, so under budget, which is allowing FAA and DOTD basically to cover this project 100%. 90% of the funds will come from FAA, 10% will come from DOTD. There's going to be no cost to the Hammond taxpayer. So this first resolution is accepting the FAA portion of the funding, which comes out to about $1.14 million.
Anyone from the public? Anyone from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman DiViterio?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilman Wells?
We are on number 9.
A resolution, one, accepting $115,083 in Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development grant funds for terminal apron joint reseal and taxiway, A&E point repairs at Hammond North Shore Regional Airport, and 2, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. Charles?
So this is the DOTD portion, and I should mention that the total here is going to be more than that $1,092,080. That's because it includes engineering costs, which is coming up soon, as well as some administrative costs that the city will have for recording and some other FAA requirements.
Any questions from anyone in the public? Anyone on the council? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilman DiViterio?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Resolution number 10.
A resolution to ratify bids for terminal apron joint reseal and taxiway A&E point repairs at Hammond North Shore Regional Airport, and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract in the amount of $1,092,080 with the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, Byron E. Talbot Construction, Inc. Charles?
This was the low bidder on, I think you're looking at the bid tabulation up there. We had, as I said earlier, 4 bidders. Command Construction's bid came in at about $1.145 million. Hendrick Construction came in at about $1.276 million. Gulf States came in at $1.472 million. So that made Byron the lowest at $1,092,080. Again, this will be completely funded by FAA and DOTD.
All right. Any questions from anyone on the public? Anyone from the council? I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman DiViterio?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
11.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment in the amount of $158,276 to Work Authorization 17 with design engineer Michael Baker International for construction support services for terminal apron joint reseal and taxiway A&E point repairs. Charles?
Michael Baker International was the engineer that designed this project. We actually had 2 other quotes for the costs. They were by far the lowest. The next lowest was around $250,000, and the one above that was around $350,000. So FAA has approved us to amend the design contract so that we can work with them on the actual construction support. That involves having essentially a general contractor out there to manage the project as it's underway.
Anyone from the public have any questions or concerns on that item? Anyone from the council?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman DiViterio?
Aye.
Reports. Mayor?
We had a successful Missing in Action POW event in K Square this past week. Turnout was really well. That's it.
Council reports.
Yes, I have one. Ms. Betty Robinson, could you please come up to the front, please? Help out, Janae. You know what to do.
I probably sat too long. My name is Betty Clark Robinson. My address is 635 South Morrison Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana. My zip code is 70403. Thank you for allowing me to address the council with my concern. I have in my possession, which I don't have enough to give all of the councilmen one. I have 3, so I'll let my daughter pass them out and you can share them. And I'll keep one so that I can explain what it's all about.
Ms. Janae, make sure you get one to the, Mr. Andre, please.
Okay. All right. My concern, I have in my possession a document given to me by a city employee at the Recreation Center located on West Coleman Avenue. I was given no explanation. All of the seniors that walk in the gym on a regular basis were asked to sign. My mind is still sharp. I don't sign anything without reading it thoroughly. After carefully reading this document, I decided not to sign it for several reasons I will share. The document was not on any type of official letterhead. No source was cited. Researching the law, the content of the document, meaning it has no bearing on the activities we participate in to release from the city a liability. The document was given no explanation. I was asked to sign the document and told I wouldn't be able to walk or take part in the activities in the gym if I did not sign this document by Friday of this week. To quote what was said, HR said, you can't walk in the gym anymore if it is not signed by Friday. My question is, who is HR? I want to know. I am a taxpayer. I pay taxes. Every time I spend $1, I have so much tax to pay for or any place else. Why can't I walk in the gym? I did no harm, said nothing to nobody. We have friends, we laugh, we talk, and discuss things. We talk about our children and things like that. Why? I was singled out. You can't walk in the gym because you don't sign this sheet. So then my daughter give it, look at it. All right? All right? To quote HR. HR, who is HR to make that decision? I feel that it's someone better or someone else who will make that decision. HR, I know, is human resources. All right, HR is an acronym for human resource. That department governs hiring and firing city employees. I don't work for the city. As a taxpayer, I'm concerned about this intent. The Recreation Center is a public building, just as the building we are sitting in and standing in right now. This is a public building because it's built with public money. I didn't sign it. I will not sign it because it's not written on anything. We have an attorney, and if this letter is to come out, it should be on the attorney's. The attorney should have his initials at the top of the page, coming from the city of Hammond, telling me, I have no problem walking. I cannot walk in the gym, and give me my reasons why I cannot walk in the gym when I am a taxpayer. So, and I would like for the attorney to see this, and if he approves this and put it on there, then I have no other thing to do but to sue to walk in the gym. And I have been in the gym, I have been in Hammond all of my life, other than leaving, going to Baton Rouge where I attended Southern University. And that's the only time that I have been out of Hammond. So I'm still wondering why I was not given anything as to why I could not walk in the gym, other than you didn't sign this sheet. But it's not on the letterhead. It did not come from the city attorney. And I know that we have a city attorney. And if it's so, if the city attorney sent me a letter, then, hey, I have due process. Then I can do what I need to do. So, and I'm asking you to look at it.
And there go Mr. Andre right there, and he got a copy of this here letter.
Yes, sir. I can speak to this. I was contacted by the recreation director. Apparently, there's a program, the Hammond Adult Leisure Programs.
Right.
It's a program that's offered to citizens. And as a participation in the program, the people who participate are asked to sign this document, which basically says they're physically fit, they're able to do it, and they're not going to sue the city arising out of their participation in the program. This is routinely done in recreation and all types of activities. So I got the message, and it said there's one, I don't know how many, there's a whole bunch of, I think, people participate. I don't remember the number. But she told me there's a large number of people participate. But there was one individual who did not want to sign it, that she wanted her lawyer to look at it. I said, well, sure, give it to her, let her lawyer look at it, give her time, let it look at it. There's a question or problem, we can talk about it. And that's what I recommended, that she be allowed to take this to her lawyer to look at it, to answer any questions she might have. And that's all that I know.
Okay. I did not sign it. I will not sign it because I have not done anything wrong, everything right. I went to Pete's office. He was not in. I was expecting a phone call from him, but I did not receive it. So I will go back to Pete's office and talk to Pete. Then if I get no answers from that, hey, it's on. Because tell me, what did I do wrong? Why is it? I said, no, I am not signing it. And I mean, no, I'm not signing it.
Can I ask a question, Andre? One, moving forward, that any communications like that should be put on some type of stationery.
Yeah, it should have been on his letterhead.
I don't disagree with that, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
And
it should be on the City of Hammond stationery.
Right, that's one
Yes.
thing that I know is, number one, that should be taken care of in this situation. So my question would be, where do we go from here?
It is customary, it's not unusual. People who participate in it's a voluntary program. You can participate or not, you're not forced. Ms. Robinson, you should be able to go to the gym. It's a public facility, you should be able to be there, but there's apparently a particular program that the city offers. I can't speak to what exactly the program is because I don't know, but apparently there is a program that they offer to people to participate. And it's not unusual for people who participate in programs to sign a document that says, look, I am physically able to do this. And I'm not going to sue the city because I'm participating in this program. And so that's done. It's customary. This is what apparently that is used in the recreation department. I looked at the form kind of quickly here. It looks like it's in the general customary form. And I guess it's Ms. Robinson, when she said she wants her lawyer to look at it, I agreed. I don't want anybody to sign something that they're not comfortable with or that they haven't had a chance to have their lawyer look at. So I agree. You should have had this looked at by your lawyer.
I said this. Yes, I'm going to let my attorney look at it. What did I do wrong? Why is it I cannot walk in the gym? Because I am a taxpayer. What happens to my taxpayers' money pay you and everybody that's affiliated with it. Even the young lady that gave this to me, she had no explanation, no letterhead from you, which is a city attorney. If I had gotten a letterhead from the city attorney telling me that, I still want to know, what did I do? Why is it I cannot walk in the gym? It's a public building. My tax money pays for that building.
I agree with you. There's two different issues. One is being able to go in the building. You certainly should be able to go in the building. That's not, that to me should not be an issue.
Well, I have until this Friday, but I'll say this, and I will continue to say it. The Lord bless me next Monday. I'm going to walk in that gym, and I'm going to walk because I pay taxes just like everybody else. I'm not excluded from any taxes. In the building I'm standing in now, I pay taxes here, help to pay your salary, and all of these things. So she did not give me any reason as to why I could not walk anymore. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, they have a lot of things going on at that gym. They have a veterans dinner tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, it's Thursday.
It's next Thursday. So is everybody that come through that door is gonna be asked to sign paperwork saying if anything happens to them? We have basketball going on. Is that a part of their packet? We have flag football. Is that a part of the packet?
I have not seen any of that.
What I wanna say to Ms. Robinson, maybe they don't want, maybe it's just a little club, but you should be able to go walk in that gym. Maybe you don't have to be affiliated with them, but you can go walk in that gym.
And if the Lord bless, Thursday, I am going to the dinner.
Was that letter for a class or that letter for her? Was that letter directed towards a class you were trying to do in there?
Look,
There's nothing.
all of the ladies that wanted to sign this, all the ladies that wanted to sign it, they signed it. I kept walking. I did not read it until later. When I read it, I said no. And I still mean no. I am a taxpayer in Hammond, Louisiana, or wherever that money goes. I am, and I don't see why is it I can't go in the gym. And if they come, the police, I tell Mr. Police, I pay taxes. I'm paying your salary too.
All right, thank you, Ms. Betty.
So, and I mean that, and I listen, and I've done some research, and I have it right here. You can go to the computer, and it's in yellow. They can't stop me from walking in the gym. I'm a taxpayer.
No.
I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't said anything. I have some friends. We laugh and talk. We laugh and talk. We drink water. We leave together. We may stand on the outside and talk. Why? And I said I wasn't going to put my John Henry on it. And like I say, I still mean just that.
Yeah.
And I thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think y'all starting to see now how things become personal with certain faculty workers. And what they don't realize, and I know we don't have the power to hire and fire, and I asked her to come to the meeting tonight. And these the issues that we have going on all the time, and they act like they can't be replaced. But Mr. Mayor, Mr. Andre, it's amazing how this was given out, and you all, this the first time y'all saw it. Now, I know this here now. When kids playing Little League football, these are some of the same letters that they give out to the kids to bring to their parents. I do know that. But in the meantime, you see how we just do things? This is something we shouldn't even have to be discussing up here if they would just have done things the right way and don't make it personal. And, you know, I don't know who the woman is or whatever, but she's an older lady. And this all they have is the gym to go meet with their family and friends. And how could you take something like this here from her that's a pillar of the community? District 3, yeah, school board member, all this here, you know. So see how much it affect her, see how much it hurt her, and then look at here, 10 after 8, and she had to sit up here all this here time and hear everybody's problems, and yet, how we gonna address her problem? You know, the last woman, and I'm gonna say this here right fast, the last lady left out of here with that cane. You know what I had to do? I had to go all the way to the Yellow Bird, because she couldn't even walk down there to get her car. That's what I left out the meeting for. I can't keep doing this. And I'm gonna keep asking y'all, I need help. When they have issues, she been in Hammond all her life. When they have issues, we got to have a better solution. We just cannot sit here and say, don't go no more. Don't go no more. You know, it's the way this should have been done, Mr. Mayor. We got to do things the right way. And if it would have been done the right way, I'm quite sure she wouldn't have had no problem. The same thing with the mailbox. We got to do things the right way. Yeah, we're talking about federal. Yeah, it's a federal. So guess what? Yeah, it's federal. Amazon, hell, if they got a problem, let Amazon deliver the mail. Amazon deliver the package. They ain't worried about a dog or nothing else. And taking pictures. So see, this is what I look at. And see, we get binded with these little contracts. And if you let people know that if your service not right, we can always go to somebody else. So we can't keep having these people coming out of District 3 having so many issues. You know, and I can't keep talking about it. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Andre, these people want to hear from y'all. She done been to the mayor's office. Phone call, I don't know what day she went, or nothing else. But Mr. Mayor, you can't keep saying you have an open door policy, and the door not open. So,
you good? I just want to say, Miss Lisa, can you tomorrow email that updated dog ordinance that we did a while back? Email it to Charles and copy Pete and Andre to it and to the police department, and also get that lady Miss Evans's email and copy her to it, please, so where she can see that.
what Miss Evans?
Miss Evans is the one that was told that the police department said they needed to call me about something I was working on. Thank you, Miss Lee.
All I wanted to say is that we have a Keep Hammond Beautiful event at Murray Park, a cleanup on Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m. We can get service hours, and it's a great program.
Steve? All right, Miss Pam, I've signed that declaration so it could go off to where it needs to go. So I've taken care of that sitting right here. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.